Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the panel is back, hosted by the Couch Warrior, Mike, and 138 MMA, and we are joined by two lovely guests, Picks by Pegasus and Evan. Today, it is me from Nebraska and everybody else from the East Coast. All those Northeasterners are ready to bring you some energy from that away. Guys, we got UFC 317 here, and it's going to be an absolutely stacked card. I'm letting you guys file in while I talk a little bit about nonsense. We've got Dixon Sider in the chat. He's been here since, like 1 o'clock this afternoon or something like that, which is wild. What's up, Dixon? Good to see you. You changed your profile picture. He wants a parlay. We might give it to him. We might not. You'll have to wait and see. He likes the start time. That's good, but he's not in the chat yet live. These are all from earlier today. So where you at, Dixon? And he's saying hello to everybody. About Caucho Machado. All right. All right.
I like that one.
There we go. All right, guys. So obviously we all did our, we're all excited for the card stuff in the back. There he is. There's Dixon. Okay. I was worried, but now we don't need to worry. So we don't need to spend a ton of time with that, but real quick, what is everybody's fight that they're most looking forward to outside of the main event? You can't just say the main event. Mike, what about you?
Van Royval, easy.
Oh, easy. Evan, what about you?
Dariush and Money Moicano.
Pegasus, you?
Pantoja and Car France.
Yeah, for me, it's a Arujau and no, I'm just kidding.
You would. You literally would.
Dude, I would say that, wouldn't I? No, definitely it's the Van fight for sure. I mean, you can't not. So how dare I say he wasn't here? That's right. I should have known better. All right, guys. Well, this is the Four Horsemen. Let's go. That's right, Daz. You know what's up. Yeah, we're gonna go through all these all the fights on this card. There are 12 of them or something like that. After all the mixing and matching, I think it's gonna be a good time. So let's just jump right into it. Let's kick it off with the first fight of the night. Couple of debuts. We got Christopher Ewart and Jackson McVeigh. Now both of these guys are undefeated prospects, which is fantastic. Let's start with Mike. Let's kick it off to you. Tell everybody about this one.
Ewart Army, baby. Let's go. I think Ewart's gonna get it done. I'm kind of mad at him because he ruined Reese Watkins' chances for making Dana White's Contender Series this year. And I'm a big fan of his, and that sucked. But it was a good win for Ewart. And look, when McVeigh was booked to fight Dumas originally, like everybody else, I wanted to fade Dumas because he's literally in and out of jail right now and had an ankle monitor on. So I was down, but I wasn't that down after taping it because McVeigh, when I got to it, was minus 145. And I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, he's never left the first round. He's beaten absolute bums, horrible competition. And he doesn't look all that amazing to me. Maybe just because he's fighting low-level comp and the fights haven't lasted very long. And maybe he looks a lot better in the UFC. But from my perspective, he's tall, he's lanky, doesn't really use the range all that well. Striking seems fine. Southpaw could be tricky. He's good in the clinch. He's opportunistic with the subs. Not that much of a wrestler, though. I don't rate his wrestling. It's fine, but I don't think it's that good. Ewart has shown me really good takedown defense. Ewart has been tested in the cardio department. We know he can go a hard 15 minutes with adversity, whereas we don't know that with McVeigh. I think the body work is going to be there for Ewart all day long, with McVeigh being a lot bigger. And with a lot of clinching, I think Ewart's going to be doing this thing, going to the body. And, yeah, I just think the pace, the cardio, I think his boxing is better. His striking overall is better. And I just have more information on him. So I'm pretty comfortable with Ewart here and hyped to see him make his debut.
There we go. See, I'm glad I get to go last on this one because obviously it was the last minute add to the card. So, Evan, what about you, brother? What do you got?
I'm just going to echo everything that Mike said there. I think it's a really interesting fight to kick off UFC 317 International Fight Week. This isn't a fight that I would want to cap at a silly little Apex fight night, on a Thursday night, for example. So I didn't really spend a ton of time on this one. So I'm going to tail Mike here. So let's go Ewart season.
There you go. I like it. Pegasus, what about you?
Yeah, no, not going to waste time. No difference here. I'm going to go Ewart as well.
Okay.
Not impressive at all. Taping looks like his jiu-jitsu is pretty good, but outside of that, nothing impressive.
Okay, I'll be the different one. I'm going to take McVeigh for no other reason than I think that this is going to be just kind of a tough spot for Ewart to step in on almost no notice. And McVeigh's kind of tricky just with his size, and those knees to the body are nasty. What's up?
McVeigh's stepping in on 2 weeks' notice, though. And he literally fought a week ago, bro. He fought like a
fought-
week ago, and
Yeah.
Ewart was also booked for Dana White's Contender Series and not
in
too long.
August.
Yeah, but he's already in camp.
Okay, he just got to camp. Like it's June, so yeah,
Potato,
I don't know.
potato.
I don't know. I'm staying away from this one, but like I've already picked like every underdog possible on this card to spoil a little bit here. So we're gonna stick with another one. We're just gonna take McVay for the heck of it and say, all right, definitely not a strong lean. I don't recommend tailing my suggestion on this one because, yeah, let's be honest, I didn't get a lot of tape done on this one. So yeah, whatever. We're moving on. It's gonna be fun to watch, and that's what I'm here for. Now, this one, I expect a ton of heat, so that's going to be okay. Yeah, exactly. There you go. The fight food gets it. It's a root beer fight. We're going to be cracking root beers. Fight one, right? Cracking them root beers. We're going to move on to the next one. We got Janata Denise and Alvin Hines. Now, another debuting prospect in Alvin Hines, another undefeated fighter. So we got 3 undefeated fighters all making their debut in the first 2 fights. That's fantastic. Denise with that lone loss. We're going to start with Evan. What do you think about this fight? What are your opinions, and who do you think wins?
Yeah, I got to agree with the market here. I did cap this one, and I did tape it with an eye on trying to bet the underdog, but I couldn't get there. I think that Hines is, kind of he's fought a lot of tomato cans, has some grappling credentials, but I think Denise is probably going to be too big, too athletic for him, and I think he's going to probably knock him out. Again, it's not one that I'm super interested in playing, though. I'm not laying minus 350 on this heavyweight, low-level type of stuff. So I don't know. I wanted to bet Hines, but maybe one of you guys can convince me. But I got to pick Denise by knockout.
Fair enough. Pegasus, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going with Denise round 1 KO. I don't think that Hines has had any real competition on the feet like Denise yet, to be honest, when it comes to striking. I mean, obviously everyone has questions about Denise's takedown defense because it's obviously not been the best. I think if it's, up against the cage or somewhere where Denise can lean on something, he'll be fine standing on the feet. He gets flat on his back, then obviously we're going to be in trouble. But I don't know. I think Denise is just going to start quick, right on the feet, and probably try and find that first round KO. So I'm going to go with that. Pretty square, but I feel like it probably hits.
Fair enough. The fight foo seems to be on Hines, so that's interesting there. I like to see that in the chat. A little bit of somebody on the other side. Honestly, I'm going to take a flyer on Hines here as well for the pick and here's why. Let me throw this out there. I fully understand that Denise should win this fight in the first round and knock him out.
Yeah.
But I also understand that Denise has a glaring hole of the takedown defense. Austin Lane, a guy that is probably going to be out of the UFC after this next fight, was able to take him down and control him for an entire round. And I would say Austin Lane is like the lowest level of fighter in the division outside of maybe, well, no, I got to say he's the lowest now because Junior Tafa now is down at light heavyweight. So, I mean, at heavyweight, that's a pretty low bar to be underneath. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say that Hines has a better shot than people are giving him. And also, I like his cardio. Somebody in my comments said that they didn't think he had good cardio, but this dude is like throwing 200-300 strikes for a heavyweight in a fight. Like that's insane, dude. Like that's a lot for like any weight class, especially at heavyweight. So I think he can have more output if he weathers that first storm. In the first round, he's liable to get knocked stupid. However, after the first round, those punches ain't going to sting the same. That's just how it works. You got to catch somebody cold or when you got all your juice in the tank. Denise is a big boy. That juice is going to run out. And I'm going to just hope and pray that Hines can make it through the first round, and I think he can take over. It's not a confident pick again. There are not many confident picks for me on this card, unfortunately. We're going to take a shot on Hines. Couch, I'm pretty sure you're on the other side. What do you think?
I wouldn't say I'm on the other side. I mean, I'm going to pick Denise to win. I'm not going to pick an underdog just to pick it. But I did want to like Hines. I did want to get to a play on the money line, but I don't know. I need to see more. Like he's clearly UFC caliber, and that doesn't say much about that because of the state of the heavyweight division. But I do think he's UFC caliber. He's got solid striking, nice head kicks for a big man like him. That's cool, and he can do it in round 3. To speak to the cardio that you were talking about, he 100% does have good cardio. Probably better than Denise because we've seen him grind it out. We know that he trains at elevation, and he's a solid fighter. But like. I went into it remembering his wrestling, into the tape, remembering his wrestling, and I wasn't super impressed with what I saw. Like Valdez was sprawling on him, and Valdez is not it. I'll just leave it there. Like he's not it. If you guys haven't seen that fight, just check it out and you'll see what I'm talking about. The fact that Valdez even made it to the third round there, not my favorite thing ever. The fact that he struggled to take down Valdez, not my favorite thing ever. And like, I think Denise's actual takedown defense, at least the first layer, is pretty good. Like, he does the right things. It's just that once he's on his back, he has no ability to get back up. And Hines is really big. So if Hines can get him down, I think that he can win this fight because he'll probably win the round every time he does it. If he can do it twice and then survive, he can win the fight. And he's probably more likely to win a grimy third round, if it makes it that far because of the cardio. I just think that his striking's not that good. I think he's pretty plotty. He's pretty slow. And if Denise can stuff those takedowns, which I kind of expect him to, I think he's going to knock out Hines. I lean towards it being like a round 2, just because I could see Hines coming out there, maybe landing a takedown, or if not, at least cage pushing a ton. And then they come out in the second round, Denise catches him. That's kind of where I'm leaning. But if I was to play anything, I do like the Hines decision plus 1,000. That's kind of how I see him winning. I don't really see much else. I don't really think he's going to finish Denise, maybe, but I don't really think so. So if I was to play it, it would be the decision.
Hines decision at plus 1,000 is actually like kind of solid. I might
nice,
throw
right?
like $10 on
Yeah,
that.
that is an interesting one, honestly.
Especially because it's heavyweights and they tend to go over. Like outside of the top 5, heavyweights tend to go over. So I wouldn't be shocked.
Denise is pretty tough as well. Like, he doesn't really quit. So I actually don't mind that at all either.
Might be worth a small shot. Okay, that's interesting. I like that. I like that a bit. We can move on to the next one. This is quite the fight here. We got the veteran versus the prospect, another undefeated prospect in Jacoby Smith. He is 10-0, and he's taking on the veteran of the UFC, Nico Price. We're going to start with Pegasus on this one. Who do you have?
Ryan, which one are we starting at? Which one is this again?
Jacoby Smith and Nico Price.
Yeah, I parlayed the under 1.5. I
thought you were about to say you parlayed Jacoby. I was going to be like, just get the fuck out of here, bro.
Minus 2,500. No, I played parlayed the under. I think at a guy minus 2,500, if you're not finishing Nico Price in the first round, you're not covering that price tag. One line has to be wrong. But yeah, I don't know. I think we see Nico Price take a lot of damage. We know how his chin is, and Jacoby Smith, he's looked good. He's very, physical. What's he? Oklahoma State champion for a wrestler in college. So I think it was Oklahoma State, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's got all the tools to get it done. I think he gets it done early, finds the knockout on the big stage.
Fair enough. Yeah. So this is a matchup. It could be called a mismatch. I mean, one guy is in his sophomore outing in the UFC, whereas another guy has a ton of UFC experience and fought a much better level of competition. One could say he's even a seasoned veteran, where the other guy is just kind of getting his feet wet. But honestly, I think the young kid's got a shot, believe it or not. I'm I'm going to take Jacoby Smith as well. So all right, so this is going to sound stupid, but I technically now have a 0.25 unit money line bet on Jacoby Smith. Now, how this happened, right? So I do this thing on Patreon called the Patreon Parlay, but I didn't have anything I wanted to parlay up for the base of this thing because it's a progressive parlay.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, so how can I do that? Well, I have to put someone on the base that's going to get me to at least pick 'em odds, right? And so I parlayed him with Jackson McVeigh when Jackson McVeigh was minus 110. So I could just say it was a parlay. But this was when Jackson McVeigh was fighting Cedricus Dumas, who he was going to absolutely murder. Dumas is out. So I just punched my mic. Sorry about that. So now I have a 0.25 unit money line bet on Jacoby Smith because I tried to cheat the system a little, my own system that I made the rules for.
I say this every time we do a panel. I need a new co-host, but nobody sends me their applications. So I'm stuck with Tyler and his 0.25 units on Jacoby Smith at minus 2,500.
If it makes you feel better, he was only minus 1,600 at the time.
Doesn't make me feel any better at all.
And also, at least I'm not getting swept this card because I feel like at least I'm getting that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you jinxed it.
Dude,
now he's gonna come out there. He's gonna knock down Nico Price. He's going to expend all his energy trying to get him out of there. Going to get exhausted, and Nico Price wins a decision.
If I get swept on this card, including that one, I'm done betting. That is for sure. Couch, what about you? Who do you have in this one? I think I
got not much to say here. Jacoby Smith should win. He should knock him out early. If I was to play it, the only thing I kind of considered the Jacoby Smith round 2 knockout, just because it's a better price than the round 1 knockout. But I don't want to get involved. I'm good.
That's fair. Evan, same to you or no?
Yeah, I mean, same, but I'm going to look at some sub angles. Jacoby Smith is relatively new in his career. He's not like he's been fighting pro a ton, so he doesn't have any subs on his record yet.
Right.
But Nico Price is a very submittable guy. Nico Price has like 9 kids to support. He's been knocked out a bunch. Let's take it easy on him, just and if you're Nico Price, like, you don't have to go blood and guts here. You're going to lose. You're a huge underdog. Just put yourself in a rear naked choke and let's cash the round 1 sub at plus 1,000. You know what I mean? Like that's I'll take a sprinkle on that. I mean, to win in round 1, he's minus 165, Jacoby Smith. But to win by sub in round 1 is plus 1,000 on BetOnline. So I'll take a little stab.
So honestly, at this point in the panel, this is mostly for Dixon, because Dixon's out there always looking for some crazy degenerate stuff. We're 3 fights in, and we've given out a plus 1,000 that we don't mind for 2 of these 3 fights. So Dixon, if you're taking notes, parlay those 2 together, and I feel like you got a wild night ahead of you. Dude, imagine if those both hit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that'd be crazy.
And both of them have a clear path, right? And see that the fight clue's correct. He has no subs at all. But like Evan said, he's early in his career, and maybe he doesn't want to knock this man out. Maybe he likes the guy. He understands that he doesn't want him to be a vegetable for his children. So he says, you know what? I can sub this guy and save him some brain cells. So I like the option. I do like the option.
Tyler, before we move on, can I just say I just went on YouTube to get the link so I could plug it on my Twitter.
Yeah.
That thumbnail, bro.
Dude, okay. So
no, dude.
So I'm like trying to come up with a thumbnail. I'm busy as heck today. I had a bunch of work to do and stuff.
You can ask me, I could help out.
Dude, I was like gonna do something. I was just like, screw it. Let's see what Grok comes up with if I tell Grok to put to give me an image of Ilya Taporia and Charles Oliveira having a food fight in a cafeteria. And that's what it gave me. So here we go. And I even like left in the little Grok thing in the corner and said that's fine. So
I'm weak.
Yeah, that's it. Yo, no disrespect to Nico Price. Like I said, the dude's a grizzled veteran. I just think this isn't his moment anymore. But if he wins and you got a ticket on him, you can brag to pretty much everybody, because I don't think anybody's actually outright said Price is going to win. So, but yeah, so the thumbnail is wild. I get it, but we were having some fun. Plus, it's like a live stream that's going to be irrelevant in 2 days anyway, considering the card will be over. It's whatever. Moving on. We've got Terrence McKinney and Vyacheslav Borshov. I don't know. It depends who's saying it. I'm gonna say Borshov, because I think that's how John Anik says it.
Vyacheslav Borshov.
Borshev? Is that how you say it?
Borshov, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anik's always saying Borshov. Is that wrong? He's wrong? Are you saying Anik's wrong?
I mean, I speak Russian, and I'm pretty sure it's Borshov, but
we're going Borshev then.
John Anik probably might know better than me, so I don't know.
I've always heard it as Borshov too. So
we're going Borshov.
Because you're not exactly the authority for name pronunciations.
I'm usually good with pronunciations, but this one, like, Anik threw me for a loop because I was always calling him Borshov, and he started changing on me. All right. Either way, we can move on from that. The under is the play, and I know every time everybody's like, I got to get cute and play it over because eventually one's going to hit. But geez, McKinney's last 11 fights, all with the UFC. Well, I think 10 are UFC ones, Contender Series. None of them have been over 1.5 rounds. Like, fool me once, fool me 11 times. Like, I've got to just start saying the under, even though it's pretty pricey at this point in the week. But like, I mean, it's a McKinney fight. Like, it's just how it works. I think McKinney takes him out in the first round. I think he shoots in. I think he's tired of getting knocked out. I think he shoots in, gets a takedown, and I think he gets to the back, and I think he gets a submission. That said, if he does not get that submission, I don't think it goes well for him after that. I think the second round starts and he starts getting cracked, and I think it's a rough night. But I'm taking McKinney. He's one of the few favorites I have on this card, which is a scary thing to say. Mike, what do you have?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to lose money on McKinney decision again. I did it last time, and he's going to get it eventually. And if he was to get it, I think this is a good spot for it. I feel like I can make a valid argument for it because Borshov's takedown defense not that great. It's decent, but his get-ups aren't that good at all. If McKinney gets him down, takes his back, I don't think he can get back up. If he does that 2 times in a row, and I do think he should have the gas in the second round, and then survives the third, there's your decision, and it's like plus 1,400. But the more I taped it, the more I was like, dude, I feel like Slava's going to survive the first round, and then it's going to be a classic McKinney fight. He's going to beat the daylights out of him. So then I started looking at like Slava round 2, round 3 knockout, and then my gut's like, but what if Slava wins a decision? So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably just going to leave it alone, which is probably the best thing to do when McKinney's a favorite and you're not confident on the underdog. And I'll possibly live bet. You know, if McKinney comes out there, smokes Slava in the first round and doesn't get the finish, then I'll try to get in. The bookies aren't stupid, though, so I highly doubt that they're going to adjust the price too much. But maybe I'll get like plus 250 or something, and then I can play Slava because then I don't have to worry about him getting knocked out when McKinney's most fresh. So I'll pick McKinney to win.
600.
What's up?
Fight goes is plus 600.
I know.
Trust me,
I know. I was staring at it too. I was staring at that. I was staring at McKinney decision. I was staring at the Slava round 2-3. The fact that I'm picking so many bets on so many different sides is what tells me that I need to just leave it alone and pass. So I'm going to do that. I think McKinney should win because of the wrestling upside, because of the submission upside, and because I think Slava's chin is also starting to go. And I think in general, he's kind of on a decline. But I don't think I should play the money line. That's for sure.
I know McKinney has never been to a decision in his life.
He made round
he's only
one
seen
time.
a third round once.
Yeah, one time. Other than that, all his wins come in the first round, and then anytime it leaves the first round, he loses.
Right. Like, I really, really, really don't see a decision, but like at some point you want to think it could. But at the same time,
like, don't you think if he has a relatively easy first round, like say he takes it back in the first, don't you think he'll have the gas to do that again in the second?
Yeah, but I don't think he has the gas to do it in the third. And I think he just
he just needs to survive. Then he just needs to survive, which is asking a lot. That's asking a lot of McKinney, but he could do it.
The way he fights, he doesn't fight conservative enough to do that. Like I don't think he can do it. I think he has to try to. He's like if you're going out there to run like a 5K, right? He's like the guy that runs the 5K like it's a series of 100-meter sprints, and like he's just sprinting each like 100 meters as fast as he can. And by the time he finishes the 5K, he's just like dead.
That's the best part is every single time now he goes into a fight, him and his camp are like, he's going to be like, he's going to start slower now. He's going to take his time. He's going to be patient. And then he just comes out there and gasses again every single time or gets to finish.
I just hope he never starts to slow. I hope he always shoots himself out of a cannon and just goes with it. Because
I need him to get a decision just one time. So I could be right. I
think he tried that in the Bonfim fight, and it didn't work out for him.
It didn't work.
Yeah. But all right, Evan, what do you think on this fight?
Yeah, same, man. I think McKinney from a pre-fight perspective has to be the bet. I'd be kind of shocked if he didn't come out like a bulldozer for the first 2-3 minutes, and then I think he's got a good chance to get Borchev out of there. I like Slava Claus, but I think his chin is just completely dust, and McKinney's pretty good on the back, so I think McKinney's going to win in round one if I had a gun in my head. But if he doesn't, then it's just click as fast as you can. Slava Claus, whatever the number is, because then it's all Slava from there on fourth. So nothing really to add. I think Mike broke it down pretty good.
It's like Evan wrote the script, like straight away, just like right there. Pegasus, what do you think?
Yeah, it's not often that we're looking at a T-Rex fight and he's got, the under, his value on the favorite is better than his under price, right? So, I mean, if you're going to take the under, you're better off just taking T-Rex because odds are, I think, if there's going to be a first-round finish, it's probably going to be T-Rex. I mean, Slava's obviously live to knock out anyone, but I don't know. Something tells me that this is probably a get-right fight for T-Rex. I think he does what he has to do to just keep this moving on. I think Slava's pretty much done after what we've seen. I know he went to decision with Yantop 2 fights ago, and then he went to decision with what's his name, Tom Nolan last fight. I don't know. Is this McKinney's second camp at Fusion XL, or is it his first one down there?
I think it's second.
So I don't know. Maybe he's gotten into the Kool-Aid down there, right? Gotten into some of the juices, and maybe he does have the cardio. I mean, lines coming down. You getting T-Rex at minus 151 now.
Oh, wow.
Odds are. I mean, you get that minus 140 price, but come fight day, money's coming in on Borchev. I mean, I don't mind McKinney money line bet here.
Seriously, like at this point, like you can probably get McKinney round 1 for a playable number even. So
yeah,
because it was not playable on like Monday or whatever when I was looking at it.
In theory, if the price comes down, you could play McKinney pre and then just arb off and Borchev.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could do that. You could do McKinney money line, and then and if you want to like even hedge off on like overs, you could do the same thing there, right? All the overs are plus 200, plus 185. I mean, goes the distance plus 600, like Mike said. So
the problem is McKinney's liable to get finished in the first round too. Like Ribovic did it, Dober did it. Like
Yeah.
When was Borshev's last finish? Is the question.
When was the
He's
last time he
been-
fought someone this chinny?
When
Yeah,
was his last finish?
Machate in 2023 was his last finish.
Oh, yeah. That makes
Before
sense.
that was Dakota Bush in 2022. Chris Duncan on Contender Series. So it's like,
It's been a while.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if he's got it anymore. We'll see though.
That's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about that. Like, it's been a while since Slava's really, because like I didn't think of him as like a guy that doesn't finish people, but yeah.
I mean, he
Slowly.
came on with like the Dana White Contender Series dance and finish, and it was like, this guy's a six striker, which he
Yep.
is. And then I remember watching the Diakese fight, and that was the fight. I bet Diakese for once because I was like, wow, he may actually wrestle here, and he did. We kind of got him exposed there, which kind of leads me to believe too, like if T-Rex wants to wrestle, he'll be able to wrestle him, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think T-Rex is a good bet here.
Let's go. You know what? I might actually throw some money on a favorite on this card because I don't really have that going. So I guess except for Smith, but we
Out
can
of
move
all
on.
the favorites, you picked the one with no gas tank and no chin.
Yeah.
Dude,
course.
okay, so I also I just kind of like Terrence McKinney. Like he's a nice dude. Like
He
I
is
don't know.
dope. He's a cool dude.
Like he had me on one of his fight companions last year, and like dude's just chill. So I like Terrence McKinney. So like part of me is biased too. That's why I try not to bet him as well because I try not to bet fighters that I'm like biased for. So unless you give me like ridiculous odds, but and then hopefully if things work out, I'll have another fighter on this card that I'll be very biased for. But stay tuned for that. We can move on to the next one. Viviane Araujo and Tracy Cortez. I believe Mike is starting this one off. What do you think, Couch?
My own show that I'm a co-host on, and I get this fight to break down out of a sick
This is a
UFC
good fight,
17.
honestly. This is a good fight.
Come on. No, it's not.
I'll go. I love this fight.
Same.
This is
I'm
Vivi
gonna-
all day. This is at this number. This is the easiest click on the whole
Yep.
card. Is
Here's
Viviane
the
Araujo.
thing. Like I agree with you. Like if you put a gun to my head, yes, there's no shot I'm laying chalk on Tracy, and I am still considering a play on Vivi, but her margins are thin. Like she's really old. She's 38 years old at this point. She's not like she's knocking her out. Is she going to be a crazy minute winner on the feet? No. Is she going to take Tracy down? She could. I think she could. I think that's a possibility. That's why I'm kind of tempted to play her. But like, I just don't like betting such thin margins.
It's like minus 700 to go over 2.5 rounds. Like this
I
is
know,
the
but like,
epitome of a flip a coin fight. So give me plus 210 on.
but what are the
on
odds she
heads.
actually pulls away? Like, what is she gonna do? Is she gonna throw more than Tracy? Is she gonna hit her harder? Like, she could hit her harder, I
I
guess.
know,
Like,
but you're getting it's you playing the numbers here. It's
I
just a
think
great
also
bet.
if Cortez does take her down, she's probably going to be okay playing off her back, and
Yeah.
he's going to lose minutes that way.
And I think Vivi has just as much takedown equity here. Like Rose was clearly the better wrestler than Cortez. I think people overrate Cortez's wrestling because she's a wrestler, but I don't think her wrestling's that good. And I think Vivi.
yeah, I mean, I agree with you. That's
I don't
why.
think she's
I
focused
said I do
either,
think
to
Vivi
be
can take
honest.
her down. But
Not really focused either, Cortez at this point.
No.
I think she's kind of kicked it that
And
way.
I know Vivi's old, but she doesn't look old. She looks
Old
bricked up.
for
And
girls,
she just beat
like-
Karine Silva. You know what I
I
mean?
backed her
Cortez's
against-
last win was Jasmine, who's a good win. Jasmine Jasudavicius, but that was almost 2 years ago now, and she seems like she's a mess outside.
I really
I
also
I
don't-
backed her against Karine at a similar price. I'm pretty sure, but
Me too. Loved it.
for me
yeah.
there, it was just like Karina's. I thought she's gassy too, and I also just thought that she was incredibly overrated. And Cortez is probably a bit overrated too. Like I get it, bro. I definitely get it. It's a clear dog or pass, but for me personally, I'm probably not going to get involved.
I was
We'll
trying to
see.
get so Araujo's spread. I don't mind it as a parlay piece.
Probably chalk to hell. No,
Minus 200, plus 3.5. I mean, what are the odds? Tracy Cortez isn't going to 30-27. This girl, she's not going to
Yeah,
finish.
there's always that one judge that'll ruin
exactly.
the spread
That's why
bettors.
the chalky spreads are never the move, bro. Because
Yeah.
you're
I
100%
got a
right.
semi-chalky spread that's going to hit this week, and I'll go into that one later. But
Because bro, like you lay the chalk on the spread, you lose all the value, like because you have Araujo plus 215, but instead you're laying chalk for her to just lose by one round or
be
whatever.
there, just to show
And-
up.
And then you hear Sal D'Amato, 30-27 Tracy Cortez, and you just
Yeah.
have to rip up your ticket for no good reason.
That's fair. That's fair. But I don't know, like kind of like what Evan said, like I do think she at least wins a round on every scorecard. Like this is
I
going to
agree.
be a close fight. It's going to be a 29-28. I guess my whole thing on it too is that, like you said, she's old. I don't find 38 to be old for women, to be honest. Holly Holm was kicking ass at 39, winning fights, getting knocked
Holly
down,
Holm's
everything
also a
like
former
that.
champ,
So
though.
I think women kind of age like heavyweights, honestly, where like 39, 40, that's where they start to hit their precipice and start going downhill. But I don't know. I like the Russo shot here, to be honest. You were just making fun of the over. I actually put that over somewhere at minus 600 just because I just think it's free. I don't see any finishing equity in either of these women, to be honest. So I just added it just somewhere just to get a little bit more of a price down on a parlay. So
How did we get here, bro? How did we get to Tyler laying chalk on Jacoby Smith minus 2,500, Pegasus playing minus 700 on the fight code here? Like, what's next, bro?
We just need a little certainty in our lives, Mike. We're tired of just playing the odds all the time. Sometimes we just need a little something we can count on. You know, stability. We've got all sorts of wild stuff going on, and every now and then you're like, you know what? I just want something I know is going to be there for me.
That's a good point too. Wei Lee's about to be 37, right?
Yeah.
So like, she doesn't look like she's taking a step back at all. She was like almost career best last fight. So it's just women. I just don't think age the same way. They don't take damage as bad unless you're
Shevchenko too. She's 37. Isn't she?
Yeah, Shevchenko. They just don't take damage unless
Vivi's just coming into her prime, man.
Word.
Yeah, the only girls who have taken bad damage is like Aldana, honestly. And even then, she posted her photo. She cleaned up fine too after all those cuts. So it's like, I don't know.
Hill's a good example too. Angie.
Yeah,
one of my favorite fighters.
Fights. It's just
still getting it done at 40.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Women just age a little bit different
because they don't get hit as hard. That's why.
Exactly. They don't take as much damage. They're not moving as much weight. The body's not wear and tear as much. It's just different for them.
Their athletic prime is just later in general, though. Not even just for fighting. Like if you look at like women's athletic prime, like versus men, like they don't peak athletically until later, whereas dudes peak at like late 20s to early 30s. Women, they're peaking at like 35 on. So
is that actually true though?
Yeah, dead serious.
I don't know. I was always told.
I would have assumed the opposite because women start puberty earlier. No.
Yeah, but like they don't have like a drop off physically like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of our athletic ability falls off when our testosterone starts falling off, and like women don't really have a lot of testosterone to begin with, so they're not dependent on that. They have like a life to build up their abilities, whereas we're just crippled by the thing that also makes us the strongest when we're young. So it is what it is. But Vivi was the easiest click for me on this card as well. Like as soon as I didn't even pre-tape, I was like, why is she a big underdog here? That's silly. And then like I started taping it and I was like, yeah, that's silly. So
and the line hasn't moved, like it's been this way for 2 weeks. So people,
it's
I don't
absurd.
know. People being a little lazy out there. Bet it, everybody. Let me get a little CLV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know anything about like menopause or anything like that, but like the groundskeeper seems to. So I don't know. We're gonna pretend the groundskeeper's a doctor. I'm not sure. Don't know anything, but I'm gonna just believe that and move on from there. But if that is accurate, then that explains some things. Either way, Vivi's the click right here. I think. Did we all get a breakdown on this? I think we did.
Yeah.
We just kind of.
This one was more of a debate altogether.
Yeah.
We're just age shaming women. That's what we're doing this one.
Honestly, I love women's MMA. Like, I actually enjoy it quite a bit. So, medic, there you go. Yeah, so dude knows his stuff. Yeah, we'll count it. That's like credible, But yeah, so Vivi's the easiest click on the card. That's what I was getting at. Let's see. I think Evan is starting the next one. This is another absolutely fantastic fight. The fourth undefeated prospect, Hyder Emil, takes on Jose Delgado. Both of them coming in here with some pretty shiny records. Evan, what do you think?
Yeah, man, this is a really, really fun fight. I like both these guys a lot. Hyder Emil is all gas, no brakes, and it's worked for him. Obviously, the guy's 35 years old at featherweight, 11-0 in his career. I like Delgado, but I think the line's pretty close to accurate. I don't see a ton of value on the line. I would line him a favorite. He's got a lot of things going for him here, right? He's 8 years younger. He's 2 inches taller, got a 3-inch height advantage. I like his training situation better at the MMA lab. Hyder Emil trains with those guys in Northern Cali, the scrap pack guys. But Hyder Emil he brings a different type of style that I think that Delgado's really faced. Both these guys are, pretty young in their careers, despite Emil being 35. He's just, he puts a pace on guys and he comes forward and he's durable. So I think it's going to be a close fight. So I don't really like, side from a betting perspective. I think I would line Delgado a slight favorite. And that's kind of where I'm at. I think it's gonna be a car crash. So maybe a look at the under. What are we looking at here as far as totals go? I lean like unders and doesn't go the distance. Probably that would be my approach here, but I'll pick Delgado to win. Yeah, by KO.
Fair enough. Pegasus, what about you?
Yeah, man. So this is one I have a bet on. I actually took Hyder and Mill. Instead of taking the money line, I played the spread. And here's why. I think he's got that iron chin. I don't think it's going anywhere. He can get takedowns against Delgado. And the pace he pushes, just with sheer volume, he's due to win one of these rounds. Delgado, if you look at, I can't remember which fight I was watching where, he kind of doesn't like fast pressure. He likes to be able to set up his shots, things like that. And Hyder Mill doesn't fuck off, right? I'm sorry. I don't know if you curse on the show. He doesn't bounce off.
I cursed in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, on the live streams, it's fine. I don't do it in my regular videos, but that's for the
okay. All right. But yeah, so this guy just doesn't get out of your face. I think that's going to give him issues. I think people like and judges like the guy who is always on the front foot, which will be Hyder Mill the whole time. I think I got his spread is, I want to say it was -115. So you're not getting a horrible price there for him to just win one round. And as long as he doesn't get finished, it should cash. That's kind of how I played it. I like playing some spreads here and there, but I don't mind the money line shot on Hyder Mill either. But if I'm going to put one, it's definitely going to be the spread.
Yeah, I get that. So I have the same thought process there. I also played the spread. I also pick Hyder Mill to win straight up. So I get it, but like I could just play the money line, but I also don't trust judges to get it right. Yeah. So when the spread is like it's not, you're not giving away a whole lot in comparison to where the line's at. Yeah, I'm on the spread there for sure. I think Emil can get it done just by being grittier. It's going to be kind of like the Gomes fight where it's going to be close and people are probably going to think either guy could have won.
Yeah, make a fist fight. That's a lot of these fighters. That's like part of the struggle is like some people get used in sparring. No one's pushing a pace on you like that, making you get into a brawl. And Hyder Mill is going to force a brawl every time. And who do you want in a brawl? A guy in Delgado or Hyder Mill in a bar fight? So it's
I want Emil. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, yeah. Mike, do you agree? Or what side are you on? We're split so far.
Yeah, so pre-tape, I was thinking maybe I'd be on Delgado because I know he's sharp. I'm pretty high on him as a prospect, and I know Hyder very well. Hyder is just a guy who's there to be hit. So in my head, I was thinking, like, I just feel like sooner or later, Emil might run into something and get hurt. But then I taped it, and then I couldn't really understand why this wasn't closer to pick him. I just feel like Jose Delgado is a guy where, yes, he's very talented. Yes, he has a lot of power. He's the cleaner striker. The clinch will be good for him. He's good in the clinch. The knees will be useful against a guy like Emil who's just there to be hit and is shorter, so it shouldn't be too hard to hit him with those knees. And like at range, he's clearly the better striker too. He's more technical everywhere, the jiu-jitsu too. But it's like he's just a guy who needs space to operate, similar to William Gomi. But unlike William Gomi, he doesn't have the same lateral movement. Something interesting somebody brought up to me during my stream was that this is the first time that Emil's actually fighting in a big cage, which could be, could be something, definitely something worth thinking about. But the more I thought about it, it's just like, I don't really see Delgado as a guy who's using his footwork, his movement all that well. Not like a guy like William Gomi. Like William Gomi, Hyder Emil in a big cage. Now we're talking. That's a problem. Delgado, I'm not as concerned. And I just think it really comes down to him needing the space to operate and Emil not going to be giving it to him. That's really all it is for me. Because, yeah, skill for skill, Delgado's better. But this is MMA, and we have to consider everything. I think the gas tank on Emil is probably better. I know that he's going to come out there. I know what his game plan is. He's going to pressure, take away the space. He'll go to the body, which I think is useful. And pretty much like I faded Delgado against Ernie Juarez on Dana White's Contender Series for this exact reason, because I thought he's a pressure fighter. He could pressure him and he can start to break him. And he was, but then he gassed out even harder than Delgado did. Emil's not going to gas out. So in my opinion, if Delgado doesn't finish him early, Emil should pull away. He should win this fight. And at plus money, I think he's the side.
Fair enough. Yeah, honestly, like both of these guys are super stud prospects. And this is one of those fights where they got two guys that I'm like, what are we doing? These guys could both have just great runs as prospects, but I get it. It's exciting. The hardcore fans are both like all the hardcore fans know that both of these guys are super good prospects. It's just, one.
Emil's also 35. It's now or never,
He's 35, but man, he doesn't look it. Like the dude's fighting like he's 22. You know what I mean? Like dude's going out there just cutting through people like a buzzsaw. So
He started pretty late.
yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, I get that. I mean, that's a fair statement. I think
He's not going to be champ, bro. I think we can all agree on that.
I think he can get it. I think he can get up a little, into the rankings a little, kind of like the groundskeeper saying. But yeah, like I don't see him as champion, but I definitely see him making a decent run. And I think
he'll always be a fan favorite. Puts on good fights, has a good chin. It's just like you know what you're going to get with him, and you can't really stray away from it. Like I don't think he's ever really going to give you like a hiccup of a fight because he only knows one thing, and it's go. So
yeah.
To me, he's everything you want in an underdog. He's like the perfect kind of underdog. Fights for your money, durable. Would be nice if he had some defense. That would be great, but it is what it is.
I think he gets takedowns here.
What'd you say?
You think he gets takedowns here?
He can try. I don't think it's the best use of his energy. Delgado's got decent takedown defense. And like, this isn't Chris Makate. I know Delgado got out grappled there, but Chris is a pretty nice wrestler.
Yeah. I could see, that's actually a funny little like.
Hyder never has a plan. His plan is run forwards.
Yeah.
I could see Hyder getting a takedown at the end of the round. Yeah. Like if he's just like swinging bombs up against the fence and then just like grabbing him, ripping him to the mat. Like I could see something like that, but I could also see Delgado going for a takedown just to like end the pressure. I just don't know.
I think that's a little more likely. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested to see what our takedown number is going to be when DraftKings sees out the takedown props. That's going to be a good one because I'm sure it's going to be either like 1.5 or something like that because you don't really see it from him. So
over or over half a takedown for either guy could be like.
I think that's where they're gonna set it. I think that's where,
especially on those like underdog fantasy or something like that. Like, dude, you could probably slip that into somewhere and like get it. So yeah. But yeah, we can move on. We got one more prelim fight. Let's see who even started this one. The last one off.
This one was Evan.
Yeah, it was Evan. Okay, so we're on Pegasus now for this one, and it's going to be Jack Hermanson and Gregory Rodriguez. What do you have, Pegasus?
Yeah, so I was trying to get to a G-Rod spot. I like the earlier price when he was like minus 170, minus 180. Because I do think, Jack is older at this point. He's taken damage. He's had a layoff. He's had all these surgeries. But my thing is, like, I think a majority of his equity comes in the first round. Like, I think G-Rod needs that finish in the first round. Sure, his gas tank looked a tiny bit better. But even then, like, I think if Hermanson is alive over that 1.5 line, I think the fight's his. Like he gets good space, he finds his kicks, he finds his range, everything like that. And once he starts piecing them up, like I think he wins round 3 at a pretty high clip. So you're kind of counting on that. I think it's one of those things you wait and you get a live line on Hermanson if he's alive after round 1. Another thing is too, right? The way I think Hermanson can actually get G-Rod down here. I think if he does try to wrestle, I think he will look to do that just because G-Rod crashes the pocket a little crazy sometimes. And who did he get taken down by a bunch? I got to go pulling up UFC stats real quick. I can't remember who it was.
Sure either.
I want to say it was Delidze that took him down.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I think it was Delidze that had success taking down Gregory, but yeah, I think it was. Let me see. I'll find that real quick. It was. Maybe no. I don't think they even fought. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong fight, maybe, but I don't know. I think G-Rod. I think Hermanson live line late is the side at this rate, or if you want to go for like a Gregory Rodriguez round 1 knockout. That's probably a good bet as well, but I wouldn't be taking G-Rod now at what's he over minus 225, right? Last I checked, yeah, he's minus 240 on some books, minus 220, minus 225. I think you kind of lost the value on him. I think it's got to be dog or pass here, and I think I'd wait for a live line for that.
Word. We got Roto Brady jumping in the chat. What's up, dude? Coming over from X. Like to see it. You like to see it. So yeah, the interesting fight. Honestly, go figure. I'm on another dog here. I think I've been on the dog in every single fight except for Jacoby Smith. Actually, no, I was kidding. Terrence McKinney. Okay, whatever. We're good. We got two favorites so far. I'm taking Hermanson again. I think it's a close fight. I think the line should be closer to a pick'em. I think Hermanson has every bit the skill to win. I think his point spread is a fantastic bet, especially because it's right around even money. I think it was minus 105 last I saw. Don't know what it's at now. But minus 105 for that? Hermanson probably wins the third round. He could win the second round, and that's how he'd win the fight. The first round, Gregory Rodriguez is hard to beat in the first round. Let's be honest. the guy comes out of there and he's got all his energy, he's ready to storm the White House type of thing and take his seat back is what it looks like. But I'm gonna say like the Robo-Obama has a little bit of trouble keeping up that pace, and I don't think that's crazy to say. We've seen it before. He's tough, he's durable in spurts. But yeah, I think Hermansson's too crafty. He's got that herky jerky style. He'll stick the jab and just kind of move around and do what he needs to do. I think he can do that all the way to decision victory. So, I mean, Jack Hermansson's the type of guy that's keeping it close enough to get split decisions with guys that you're like, how the heck did he get that split decision? Like that split decision with Strickland, that seemed crazy to me. I thought Strickland won that one easy. Somehow the dude still got a split decision there. He's keeping it close enough that the judges are liking what they're seeing. So I'll definitely take the point spread. I don't mind Jack Hermansson money line. I'm taking him to get the win. I think he gets the win. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, my problem with the spread is I feel like Hermansson can get finished here, but I do think it's dog or pass at this line. I think that RoboCop's live to finish him early. I love RoboCop, dude. He's so funny. Like he comes out here looking like he's 80 years old, like a Brazilian Obama. RoboCop, just a chinny dude who doesn't get knocked out anyways, despite being chinny. Gets almost finished by help me. What's his name again? He just won and just beat.
Are you talking about Iron Turtle?
Yes.
Park? Yes.
Park. Park literally has him almost out. And then he says, screw this, and knocks out Park instead. Like, the dude is a legend. And then he was striking distance from being close to a title shot because he somehow got to a Cannonier fight main event and almost won. So I love the dude. He's an idiot. He's an elite jiu-jitsu player and doesn't use it half the time. So it's very stressful. I've lost some really terrible bets on him, like against it wasn't a bad bet. It was just lost because he's the dummy. Like against Petrosian, I had him there. Thought he won anyway, but it is what it is. But here, this is kind of a tricky matchup, right? Because like, where is RoboCop that much better here, aside from not being 37 and he's the harder hitter, sure, but Hermansson's got good footwork. He's got a really good jab that he can stick behind, and if he can just jab RoboCop and keep circling around, I think he could be really competitive here. He's a good striker, probably just as technical as RoboCop, if not a little bit more technical. He's a really good wrestler in his own right, very good takedown defense, but it hasn't been tested in a while. So maybe RoboCop could get him down. I just don't think it'll be easy. And if he tries that, I worry that he's going to get tired. I lean towards RoboCop either knocking him out or winning the first 2 rounds based off of just damage, the bigger shots, the forward pressure. But it's a dog or pass for me. I don't really want to lay the chalk on RoboCop when I could see Hermansson just popping the jab and moving, following it up a few times. And I wouldn't be shocked if he took down Greg either. I think that's on the table as well. So dog or pass. I think I'm just not going to get involved, though.
Fair enough. Evan, let's put a bow on this one. What do you got?
RoboCop, baby. Now look, the Dub Club got -180. No big deal. No, but I really do like Gregory Rodriguez here. And this is why. I understand maybe now there's not a lot of value, but I really feel confident he's going to win the fight. Hermansson is 37 years old, coming off of a 16-month layoff and shoulder surgery to repair a torn labrum. That's not a good injury. And I just think that, he stayed over there in Europe for this camp, and he talked about how he got kind of heavy, and then he had to get in shape, and then he had to get in fight shape, and he doesn't fight a lot, so we don't see him a ton, And all right, in a 3-round fight, you look at their striking metrics. RoboCop lands more strikes per 15 minutes, and he also lands more takedowns, and he defends takedowns at 88%, and he's younger. I just think there's a lot of things going, in his favor here. The only concern I really have is that beating he took by Cannonier only 4 months ago. Like, that's the biggest concern.
Is he really younger though? Are we sure?
Well, no, we're not sure. He could be 90. He probably is 52. But so yeah, I like Gregory Rodriguez here. Now, I literally think we talk about thin margins. Hermansson's margins are incredibly thin here. He hasn't he's been fighting in the UFC since 2016, and he's never gotten a knockdown on the feet. He's never knocked somebody down. Contrary to that, he's been knocked down by Marvin Vettori. You know what I mean? So I think that Pyfer win was a great win. He looked great in round 4 and round 5. But this is a 3-round fight, and I think he's going to lose.
It's fair enough. Yeah, this was one of the favorites I wanted to take, and then I kept trying to be like, do I really want to take the favorite? and I ended up going the Hermanson side. So I could definitely see an argument for Robocop. I guess I didn't even think about the fact that it's only been 4 months since the Cannonier fight. That is concerning because that was a beating.
Yeah.
I mean, he did the beating for part of it, but yeah, that's something. Another thing that's interesting to mention, just in line with the Brazilian age thing, wasn't it just a little bit after he retired that Aldo admitted to being like 45 or something?
Yeah, they don't know how old they are, right? You don't know.
Right. I think he like straight up admitted it though, like in an interview, like that he's like 45. So I'm not like it was in like Portuguese or something, but like
I feel like Aldo's a troll though.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I can't ever know for sure. But like, yeah. Oh, here we go. We got the medic chiming in on the labrum here. So let's see. There can be a few weeks, sometimes a year. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not going to have use of his shoulder. I'm just,
he's going to go in there in a sling.
It's not like he's been in the gym for the last 16 months. And I've had 3 shoulder surgeries. You cannot fight after a few weeks.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend getting in a fight after a few weeks. That's for sure. Definitely.
Your shoulder is immobilized for a month. You're in a thing for a month, and then you got to get all your range of motion. It's a shitty process.
Mm-hmm. Explains why he was out 16 months. So yeah, makes sense. We are on the main card, guys. This is wild. Anybody in the chat that's hanging out, watching, and having a good time, if you haven't liked the video already, I understand you probably just forgot. The chat pops up. You don't see the little like button there. It's okay. You can minimize the chat for a second, hit the like, the little thumbs up thing. After that, you can pull back up the chat. It's totally fine to do that. I'm not going to get mad at you. In fact, I appreciate the like, the support. I appreciate it. Share this with your friends. If you're watching on Twitter, hit the repost. They call it a repost these days because it's X. If you're watching on the YouTube, hit the little share thing and you can share it to all your social medias, and I would appreciate that very much. We can move on to the main card. Let's see. Pegasus started the last one, so I guess that puts it on me. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Roto Brady reposted this. Be like Roto Brady. Dude is killing it with the kindness down here. Guys, that's what you want to do. I'm going to leave that up on screen for a bit. We're going to talk about the main card opener. The main card opener is honestly probably the fight that has me the most intrigued on this card. And not the fight that I'm most looking forward to watching, the fight that has me the most intrigued. Because I really don't know who's going to win this fight. And I don't have a strong conviction either way. We got Peyton Talbot taking on Felipe Lima. I'm high on both of these guys. I think both of these guys are very talented fighters. And both these guys, there's a lot to like, right? I know everybody is off the Talbot train. He's a fraud, all these things, but I don't think that's how this works. That's just me personally, whatever. But with that said, I was on Felipe Lima in his debut when a lot of people were not. I said, dude, this guy is the real deal. Like this guy, I know it's up a weight class on short notice, but this guy's the real deal. And not many people were on him in that debut. Understandably so. The dude did lose the first 2 rounds. After all, I get it. But he pulled it off, and he's an absolute dog. I could see this fight going either way. And because I'm so torn on it, you know what? America, dude, we're going for it. So we're going to go Talbot for the US of A. And also he's an underdog. So we're going to do that. Mike, what do you think?
Excuse me. For this one, you remember the last time we broke down a Peyton Talbot fight on the panel?
I don't actually, not specifically.
Rony Barcelos was a plus 900 underdog, and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to end up on Rony Barcelos. And you know what you told me, Tyler?
I don't.
You said don't do it. Good thing I'm stubborn as hell and I don't listen to nobody because I did it. And for me here, I've been going back and forth all week. Like I've literally been going back and forth all week. I've changed my pick, I think, 3 times now. I think the only thing I'm confident in is that Lima should be the favorite. That much I'm confident in. He does have the grappling upside, clearly. And it's with Talbot, it's like on one hand, I'm thinking to myself, is Lima a better wrestler than Barcelos? I don't think so. Does he have better jiu-jitsu than Barcelos? I don't really think so. But Barcelos is also really old. And it's not like Barcelos was the first time Talbot had trouble with grappling. I mean, Aguirre easily won the first round. Christian Rivas, I think is his name, on the regional scene, was able to take him down a bunch of times and take the back not fully take the back, but against the fence. So it's been a problem for a while. He's not training at a major camp. He just got out grappled. It was 4 or 5 months ago. His posts are just all artsy, cool stuff. And, he's off with Frank Ocean, which is awesome. But I know Lima's training. I know Lima's taking it dead serious. And I'm sure that Talbot is too, but like I do think Lima should win this fight because on the feet, I do think it's also close. I think that Talbot is sharper. I think Talbot's faster. I think Talbot probably hits harder. He's going to have higher volume and he puts together nicer combinations. So I do think he's a better striker. But Lima's going to be competitive. Lima's a pretty good striker too, good body work. And with the grappling, you got to give him the favorite price tag because he does have good wrestling. He does have good control. He does have good jiu-jitsu. I think there's things that Talbot can take advantage of, though. Lima's relatively low output on the feet. I think Lima's relatively easy to read. Like one of the first things I noticed about him is that he kept switching to southpaw only to throw the liver kick, and then he'd go back to orthodox. Like, that's some shit Talbot could definitely put a read on. So I feel like the value's probably on Talbot at this line. Like I personally would have lined it a little bit closer. Like I think Lima 60% makes sense. So that's what, like minus 150, minus 155, I think. That makes sense to me. So now we're a little wide, but I don't know if it's enough for me to get involved. I was eyeing the Talbot decision. I think that might be a good spot. It's like plus 450-ish, around that range. And I could see it, you know. I don't think he's going to knock out Lima. I think Talbot can knock out most people. He does seem to hit really hard. He's fast and he's accurate. But I don't really think he's going to knock out Lima. And if he can keep it on the feet enough, you know, I mean, against Barcelos, he had like 2-3 minutes on the feet, I think, in round 2. He had like 2-3 minutes on the feet in round 3. And I just don't see Lima being as dominant. Like with Barcelos, you watch that fight, right, against Talbot, and Barcelos will enter and Talbot will stuff it initially. And then Barcelos will do some shit like just duck under and go around on the other side and bring him down. Is Lima that nice with it? I don't think he is. I don't think he is. So it's dog or pass for me at this line, but I don't think it's wide enough for me to get involved yet.
Fair enough. Evan, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree, Mike. I think it's dog or pass as well, but I'm passing. I do think that Lima's a stud. He's much smaller though. I mean, even if you guys watched the press conference earlier and they faced the guys off at the end, he's gonna look tiny in there, even though he is dropping down to bantamweight here. Obviously, he's been mostly at featherweight here. He looked big against Miles Johns. Peyton Talbot's a big boy. He's a big boy, and it is tough to really figure out what he's doing in between fights, Talbot, because of his, goofy Instagram post. But I listened to an interview with him and he kept talking about drilling. Obviously he didn't want to say, oh, it's fraud check, but he's like, I fought a guy who stylistically, pointed out some holes in my game and I've just been drilling that stuff. And his first layer takedown defense against Barcelos looked pretty good, to your point, Mike. So I think that probably you're right in that Barcelos is, he gave him a vet lesson there. And I don't know that Lima has those tools in his arsenal yet to kind of get stuffed initially and then, transition and chain wrestle and get him down. And I think even if he does, I think Talbot's probably going to come into this fight an improved version of, what we saw against Barcelos. So I do think it's dog or pass. If anything, I would bet the GTD here, like minus 170. I think that's better than Lima's money line. Because with how much success Barcelos had in the grappling and in the wrestling, Talbot looked like he could go another 2 rounds easy at the end of the fight. He didn't look gassed. He didn't quit on himself. He didn't give up. So I think that, even if Lima does get some grappling going here, I don't think he's just going to sub him. I kind of think the GTD is better than Lima's money line, but from a money line perspective, it's dog or pass. Maybe it blows out and maybe I'll take a stab on Talbot, but I think I would line Lima a favorite, 55%, something in that ballpark.
It's fair. Overs have been kind of the trend. I mean,
yeah,
lately that's been the moneymaker. So yeah, I don't mind that over at all. So Pegasus, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, this is spread of the week for me. Peyton Talbot plus 3.5, minus 150. Usually when I pick these guys, because they're dogs, they have there's money line value there for sure on Talbot. I think it's got to be dog or pass from a money line standpoint. But the thing I think we're going to see here is the guys that we've seen. I'm a huge advocate on both these guys. I mean, they're both great prospects. I think if there's a more experienced prospect, it's definitely Lima, because he's coming from the octagon background where, there's no easy fights really over there for the most part. But here we're watching Talbot where Lima doesn't slow down, but round 3 for him is always kind of gets a little bit shakier. And Talbot, like we saw, was out-grappled and smashed pretty bad for 13.5 minutes. And then round 3, right in his face, landing big punches on Barcelos. So the guy doesn't quit. He's going to be longer. He's going to have more power. He's going to throw better striking. Difference is, right, Raoni Barcelos can get people down and control people. I don't think Lima's going to have success getting him down and controlling him. He scrambles well. We watched Talbot. What was it? Lat toss Barcelos in round 3 too. So
that was nice.
Yeah, he's a special talent. He's really athletic. It's also Pride Month, so got to factor that into it as well. All these things aside, I mean, I put 3 units on plus or on minus 150 for Talbot plus 3.5. I think this is an easy 29-28 fight either way. Could even be a split decision. Both guys are game to fight. Like I said, Talbot doesn't use his head movement that well. Obviously, his head's always up in the air and right in front of you. So Lima could land punches, obviously. But I think this is going to be a war, and Talbot's the kind of guy you kind of want a war. Let's look at it this way too, right? Say he won the Barcelos fight, or it wasn't as bad as it looked. What are we going to get? A pick 'em at best in this fight, and now we're getting Talbot plus 175.
If the Barcelos fight never happened, Talbot's the favorite.
By what? Minus 225, probably.
I don't know, but it's definitely a favorite.
I think this fight should be a pick 'em right now. That's what I think it should be. I think we got 2 good prospects, both well-rounded. I don't think Lima has the jiu-jitsu or the wrestling to put on a clinic like Barcelos did. So for that reason, I think it's dog or pass. But I think I love the spread here. This is probably, like I said, spread of the week. That's what I'm playing.
Love it, because I've also played it. So that's perfect. That's good news. I love it.
Yep.
I think most of my bets this week are spreads at this point, just because. Well, the only bet I had that was like a sizable bet was on McVeigh over Dumas, because Dumas was going to get murdered. But unfortunately, because Dumas, dude's been just like hanging out in jail, man. Like, but unfortunately, we don't get that lucky because he couldn't get his monitor off in time, which that's
kind of crazy.
Right?
It's the craziest thing I've ever heard, dude. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Straight up, couldn't get his monitor off in time to go fight.
You don't think Dana or Hunter were like thought about that at all? Didn't put any thought into that when signing this guy so short notice on this card?
I think they don't have to stress as much because it's International Fight Week and they're in Vegas, and if they need a replacement, they could do it like this, as they have already. I mean, like the Dumas McVeigh fight got put together literally like 2 weeks ago, you know?
Yep.
So did the Hines Denise fight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. That did.
Yeah. I mean, there's just it's the earlier fights on the card were all just like thrown together last minute, because it was
Talbot Lima too. Talbot Lima was also a couple weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. I think I want to say Talbot found out about this fight like 14, 15 days ago or something like that. And I think Lima had a similar experience, but it was a little less time because Talbot knew first, Lima knew second, but Lima knew he was going to be on the card, and Talbot knew he was going to be on the card, but nobody knew specifically who.
That's another reason I'm hesitant on the Talbot side. If this was like a full camp we're talking about, then it's another story.
Well, he knew he was going to be on the card, so he had a full camp for the training. He just didn't know.
Yeah, but I need him focusing on the grappling.
I'm sure he is. I mean, after you just get out grappled for 3 rounds, I feel like that's the primary focus from then on. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just been in there striking like the Twitter universe would suggest after seeing that picture of him punching a pad.
I just don't get why he doesn't go to a major camp, like literally anywhere. Like,
dude,
MMA Lab would be sick for him, or like, where else would be good for him?
It's because he's a hipster, dude. He's got to like be different. Like I like Tal, but I'm rooting
for
go
to Fight Nerds. Be a hipster over at Fighting Nerds in Brazil.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to do that. I do think he likes training in Vegas, which I get, because like it's the fight capital of the world. So there's that.
Send him to Extreme Couture then.
Extreme Couture and Syndicate are both there. Either one would be good. So,
Syndicate would be good for him. Learn some grappling with the boys.
We need Effie in the chat. Somewhere I heard that Talbot was training a little bit at Syndicate, but I could be wrong about that.
We wouldn't know because the only thing he posts on Instagram is just
honestly
him wearing a mask and cool pictures, by the way.
I like that he doesn't post training stuff on Instagram, because I like that it's because it makes you wonder. It like you don't know, and then it just kind of fuels the like.
Dude, you're putting money on it. Why do you want to not know?
Well, so also you got to realize his opponent
of the game.
Like his opponent doesn't get it. You know what I mean? So like, who knows what he's working on? Who knows who he's working with? You don't know that. And the unknown is often scarier than the known, even if the known is something scary. Like if you're if you're told that behind one of these 3 doors, there's a hungry lion, you're like, you're a little more hesitant to open the door than if somebody's like, hey, there's a hungry lion behind this door. And you're like, okay, you get to strategize about the lion. How are you going to handle this lion? But if you're like, yo, behind one of these doors, dude, I don't know. It gets in your mind. Like the unknown is scarier than the known. That's all. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm crazy, but
I know for a fact that you've sat probably laying in bed thinking to yourself, how do I take on a lion? One-on-one.
Oh my God, dude, I've straight up like,
See?
Okay, so here's the thing. It was just the other day at jiu-jitsu. We were like, somebody posted it on Twitter. We were joking about how lions have bad guillotine defense. And I was like, because like you see all those like old timey things. And we were joking about, and then we were like, now that you think about it, there's like a lot of old stories about people choking out lions. And it makes me think that
they have mad thick necks. How would you pull ghillie on a lion?
So my thought is that lions maybe weren't always quite as big. Like, we don't know. Like, they might have gotten bigger over time. I don't know. Like, or like maybe they're like, oh, like a mountain lion. Dude, you could totally choke out a mountain lion.
Isn't
like,
that one of Sean Brady's tattoos also? It's him or someone guillotining either a tiger or a lion or something. It's like on
there
his
you go.
That sounds right.
See? It's a thing. It's a thing, dude. Like, when also, like, dude, let's be honest. I've never seen a lion in jiu-jitsu class. And, like, dude, they don't know that to get past the guillotine, you just have to get across the body. They don't know that. I should try it. You know what? I'd give her a go. You only live once. That'd be a lot of views. I'll do it. Let's see what happens.
That would be a lot of views.
All right, moving right along. I think Mike's kicking us off on this one. We have Beneil Dariush and Renato Moicano. We are moving on because we're about to get way too far off the topic. Couch, what do you got?
Yeah, it sucks that they rebooked this fight, and I didn't get my original line on Dariush. I had Dariush plus 145 the first time. I love that bet. I had like 2 units on it. And then by the time I got to this fight this time, when it got rebooked, he was like, I think he was like plus 115, plus 110, and it was just kept coming in. Now it's pick 'em. And I just don't think there's a ton of value anymore. I feel like on the feet, it's pretty close. Moicano, I think, is a little bit sharper, a little bit cleaner, throwing the strikes straight down the pipe, solid combos. Dariush, though, more unpredictable. I think he has a little bit more power, solid kicks, too. I think he's got a better kicking game. And, like, I feel like Dariush is the one who has all the potential to look like a heavy favorite. Like, I don't know how Moicano looks minus 300 here outside of just dusting Dariush in the first round, which I don't really see. Whereas Dariush, I could see as a looking minus 300 or closing minus 300 on the live line if he's coming out there and getting the takedowns on Moicano. Because what it comes down to for me is they're both really good on the ground. Both have elite jiu-jitsu, but one of them is a much better wrestler, and one of them has much better takedown defense and scrambling. Like, good luck taking down Dariush. It's a pain in the ass. You could do it, but then you can't hold him down because he just keeps going and going and scrambling. Exactly. Whereas with Moicano, you take him down and he'll settle. He'll settle on his back for a little bit. He'll try to get back up and he can scramble too, but it's just not the same. And because of that, I think Dariush is the side. I don't really want to lay minus 110 when he's been out this long. And I just don't know where he's at. And he is on both of them are on the older side of things. They're literally 2 weeks apart. Their argument about the age at the press conference is funny. I think if anything, like I like the overs or like fight goes here. I don't really think they're going to finish each other. I know both of their chins are kind of questionable, and Dariush has got some power on him, low-key power, but I don't really think they're going to knock each other out at a high clip, and I don't think they're going to submit each other either. So I just think we get a Dariush top-time decision, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
There we go. Evan, what about you, brother?
Yeah, I bet Dariush the first time as well. I might bet him again. I'm not going to sit here and just like sunken cost fallacy, like bitch about the line that no longer exists. I still kind of cap him close to 60%. I do think he has all of the big favorite upside. I think he could top time him. And I think he has more of a path to a finish as well. This is Southpaw versus Orthodox. And just looking at how these guys match up on the feet, Moicano is pretty hittable. And I love that left straight from Dariush. I think he packs a lot of power in his left hand and his left body kick. If you watch a lot of Moicano's fights, he's a little soft to the body. Turner hurt him to the body. I think Dober hurt him to the body. Dober got a takedown in round 2 of that fight and was, controlling him on the ground. So I definitely think I still like Dariush to win the fight. So I think I'm still going to bet it, even though that great line is gone. I still kind of cap him close to 60%. it's tough to know where either guy's at. I mean, Dariush has been knocked out twice in a row against studs, right? Armin and Charles. They're both neither guy's a spring chicken. They're 15 days apart, like you said. Moicano just got paid, right? For taking that Islam opportunity. And he does a lot of stuff outside of the cage with his podcast. And he's a, popular guy. I love Moicano. I love his whole shtick. I think he's hilarious. I really do enjoy him. But I mean, where's he at? You know what I mean? Former featherweight, came up to lightweight, had some success, took a great opportunity, got paid big, got ran over by Islam. But of course, no big deal.
Is that his signature?
Yeah.
That might be the only signature on the planet worse than mine.
Yeah. I met him in Miami. He's a big dude. I was surprised.
He literally just went like this with a Sharpie?
With a Sharpie, yeah.
Yeah. So I like both guys. I'm a fan of both guys, but I like Benny to win the fight. I think he's got all the big favorite upside. I think he can win by knockout or top time him. And again, that Gamrot fight, good luck trying to grapple him, man. That was a master class in counter grappling and scrambling, and so unless he's completely dust, I think it's a decent bet even at pick'em.
He didn't make the money that Moicano did, bro. No chance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Moicano gave up his win streak, took a much harder fight than his original one. He got paid, bro.
Oh, because he literally saved the card. Because if it wasn't for him, they didn't have a main event. I mean, rightfully, they probably would have just given it to.
It wasn't for him. They had to stick Dariush in there, coming off of 2 knockout losses.
Well, also, did Dariush also make championship weight for that or not? Because I know Moicano did.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But if he didn't, then it wouldn't have mattered either way. But yeah. So anyway, that's 2 of us for Benny. Pegasus, what about you?
Yeah, same as these guys. I played Dariush the first time plus 150. I played him again plus 125 this time around. Same read as last time. But my only thing is this time around, like they said, Moicano just got paid, right? He now started his own gym. It just opened 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. So he's been building his own gym doing that. He's on 2 different podcasts. He's made his money. And if we really want to talk about how Moicano's looked in his last few fights, Benoit Saint-Denis, right? Beat him up in round 1. Round 2, Benoit Saint-Denis is missing an eye, wins round 2. And if the doc doesn't stop that fight, I'm telling you, BSD would have won that fight, right? Second, Jalen Turner, right? Jalen Turner wanted a walk-off knockout, possibly could have had it, but they didn't stop it. He gets back up, wins the fight. Odds are he would have been knocked out and done. So that's 2 losses in a row. Drew Dober. Drew was winning that fight until Moicano decided, or until Drew just decided to say, fuck it, and just throw the whole fight away. So we're talking about 3 losses there. Beneil Dariush, sure, he got knocked out by Armin, got knocked out by Charles, 1 and 2 in the division, beats Gamrot, who just looked pretty damn good in his last fight. CDF beat up the shell of Tony Ferguson, but I don't think it really was the shell of Tony Ferguson at that time. I think it was Tony in 2021.
He was slowing down, but he wasn't a shell yet.
That was right after Charles beat him.
Yeah, right after Charles beat him. So we're just starting to slow down. And I think, like these guys said, Moicano, to get a lot of his success in these fights, is him getting the guy down and getting his ground and pound game going. Not going to happen here, right? Chin, both their chins are pretty bad, to be honest with you. When it comes to power, Beneil Dariush has all the power upside here. And, looking at it from that sense, it's just I'm getting the guy with more power, with better grappling, with more top time, with a little bit better competition. And I think Dariush probably has a little bit more drive than Moicano does at this point. Isn't there a crazy stat about people who fought for the belt and lose their next fight? They usually lose the fight after. So we're getting that same angle with Moicano here. And I don't know. I was big on Beneil in the first fight. Same thing here. I think Benil's probably the side here. Like I said, plus odds is fine. Pick them. I'd probably stay away and I'd lean the over because I don't really see a total finish, but who knows? I see Dariush winning this fight. And like you guys said, I think if there's anyone who's going to be a big favorite come the end of the fight, it's going to be Dariush. If not, it's going to be a pick 'em. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm also on the Benny side, but there's things I like about both of these guys that don't get enough credit, I think. And for Moicano, we're going to start with him. It's his ability to sneak the uppercut in when he's got guys that shell up. He'll jab your face off a bunch and get you to cover up like so, and then he'll just sneak that uppercut underneath your guard. I love it. It's one of my favorite things he does in the striking. For Dariush, it's when he goes with that just crazy reckless flying knee into the tie clinch. Like, I love that. Like, that's insane. It's just like one of the coolest things you can do is just like, just let it fly. Like, all right, I'm going to just dive into here and land in a clinch. I love that. That's awesome. So both of these guys have some stuff that I don't think gets enough praise, but I do think Dariush has enough to get this one done. The like Moicano cannot afford to lose thing is, well, he sure can now. He has enough money. He can afford it. I don't think he's going to go out there and intentionally lose. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he just doesn't care anymore, but I do think that, you know, when you got somebody raining down shots on top of you, oh, I have to get my win bonus, or you know, it's probably all right, is a little different. So
he's got mad Bitcoin now too.
What's up?
He's got a ton of Bitcoin now too.
Dude, that's true.
Moicano economics lessons are my favorite thing about him. It's the funniest thing. This dude comes out here, almost got knocked out, knocked somebody else out, and then he just hops on the mic and starts preaching economics.
Dude, he's great, dude. Like, Moicano is so funny. Like, he's definitely one of the better characters in the UFC by far. So I won't be mad if he wins.
The story about his dad having a baby, so now he has to go have a baby.
Yeah, dude, that post-fight interview was amazing. That was the best post-fight interview probably in the history of the UFC.
It's always the best part of Moicano winning.
The past few years too. Like, his character grew, and it's been great to see. It's like something you want to see in the sport.
Yeah, like, you want to see him win just for the interview, honestly. Yeah. Maybe they should just give him a post-fight interview, win or lose. You know, unless he gets like slept or something, that's always uncomfortable. But yeah. Sure, that just give him the interview anyway. Just give him the mic and just be like, dude, say something. Like, you know, like that's good TV right there. But yeah, we're all on Benny, which is wild because he is, well, I guess he's not the dog anymore, but he was the dog. So we're all on that one. And go figure, I picked yet another dog. We're going to the next matchup, which is Brandon Royval and Joshua Van, a matchup that obviously was kind of thrown together a little bit last minute because go figure, Manel Kopp is out of a fight. So wild how that works. Evan, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, great fight, man. Really, really good fight. Hard not to love Josh Van. Guy fights, you know, like fucking 10 times a year. He's crazy. Love this guy. I got to go with Brandon Royval, however, and I probably will be betting Brandon Royval. And I also like an under look too. I think I like Royval and I like the under. So the under being plus 175, Royval's a slight underdog. I think even if Van gets a knockout here, I'd still come out and profit. I think Royval's like huge compared to him. He's so big. He's like 4 inches taller. Got a 3-inch reach advantage, and I think he's obviously a much better grappler, right? So, and you know, he's not a good wrestler. You know, he definitely has paper hips, but I think he's getting better in that respect. He's really, you know, filling into his frame. He's a huge flyweight. You know, he landed 3 takedowns of his own against Tatsuo Taira. You know, he got taken down 6 times by Taira, but he's not an easy guy to grapple. So I think he's got more ways to win here. I think he can probably win by knockout. You know, obviously we saw Van get knocked out by Charles Johnson. We also saw him get hurt bad in his next fight against Edgar Chairez. So he's just, you know, forward, and he likes to rip the body, and that sometimes leaves himself open to getting countered and whatnot. And he could run into some shots. So I don't know. I like Royval. I just think he's got more outs here. And I think he's bigger, and I think it's a big step up in competition for Josh Van. So I like Royval to get it done, and I like an under. So I'm going to bet both of those spots, and hopefully they both come through, and then it'll be a red panty night.
There we go. Pegasus, what are you on?
Yeah, I'm on the other side here. I like Van. So I'm on Van money line at minus 110. I'm on Van round 2 KO plus 1,600 and round 3 KO plus 2,200. Here's why. Van, right? This guy's got everything in front of him. People are talking like he's a 23-year-old kid who hasn't had, you know, a lot of experience, right? But you look at who he's fought in the UFC so far. What he just did to Bruno Silva, he looked better against Bruno Silva than a lot of guys like Durden and other guys like that. He hurt Bruno Silva in almost every round and found the finish in the 3rd round. So he's not one of those guys who just plays around, gets 2 rounds under him. And it's like, all right, fight's over. I won. I'm just going to take it easy. Found the finish. Thing is, right? Southpaw versus Orthodox. Josh Van works the body better than everyone else. He's the much better boxer here. I think that through and through, just because Royval is good when he can just push a high pace, throw 100, 200, 300 punches. That's where he's winning his fights. Guess who else throws 100, 200, 300 punches, same pace, and also has more power? Josh Van does. When, you watch a guy like Royval use his left jab, it's going to leave open spots for body shots on Royval. I think that's going to be huge for Josh Van here. That's how, like I said, he has all the, I think on the feet, finishing upside wise. On the ground, I don't really think people are counting on wrestling. I don't think this fight even makes it to the ground. And if it does, both guys have pretty good scrambles. Both guys have pretty good sweeps. Charles Johnson fight, people like talking about, Van getting knocked out there. That's one of those fights where Josh Van was winning most of that fight and just got caught. It's not like Charles Johnson is powerless. He's a good striker. He's a strong guy. Charez, same thing. Charez is huge for the weight class. A lot of power there. So there's no shame there. I don't think Royval even possesses the power to finish Van. He's not going to TKO Van. Maybe a fluke sub, if anything, if they decide to exchange on the ground. Other than that, pick 'em fight, younger guy, better boxer. In a stand-up fight, if this is a boxing match, you're always going to pick Van over Royval. Royval's not going to be able to get his, pace and volume game going here because Van's going to throw it right back. And honestly, Royval likes to go forward the whole time. Josh Van also does. It's going to be a battle of who likes to go forward more. And usually when two guys are going at it, going forward, right? Whoever has more power is going to push the other guy backwards. So I don't know. I think at a pick 'em price, Josh Van's the side. And like I said, I think he finds a finish later on this fight. All right. What was it? 3 months ago or 6 months ago that Royval just had all those concussion issues where he was having speech issues and stuff like that from us. I don't know who's sparring and what you're doing that hard that you're sparring and getting concussion issues like that. But if you're having, CTE and brain issues like that, and you're going to go against a guy like Josh, who's going to swing hard. I don't know, man. I think one guy's on a rocket ship, career trajectory rise. He's fought pretty good competition. It's not like he's one of these guys who's fought nobody and they're throwing him in. He's fought good UFC fighters. So I don't know. I feel like Josh Van, how wrong could you be? I don't hate anyone who got that big early line on. Didn't
plus 240 or something?
Yeah, plus 250, plus 240, 200. All those huge plus odds on Royval, 100% decide. At a pick 'em, I'm just going to take Josh Van here. I just have a feeling that he's just going to keep this going. And like Dana White said, which is kind of crazy, winner of this fight gets a title shot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather not rush Josh Van to a title fight, to be honest, because
he's got no choice if he wins.
That's true. Who do you
hate
give
when
him after
UFC
this?
does shit like this. It's the same thing with Darren Till. It's like all these young guys, they get these prospects. Even what they're doing with, like we talked about, Talbot and Lima, where you're putting two really good prospects against each other, where one of their stocks got to go down. And if Talbot loses, his stock is really down because now he's on a 2-fight skid. So I don't know. I'm on the Van side. I think Van finds a finish here in probably the second or third round.
Yeah, and they were kind of in between a rock and a hard place with that too, because if the UFC is like, oh shoot, cops out, we need somebody to step in and fight Brandon Royval in the flyweight division of all things, which is a weight class where a lot of people cut a lot of weight, and who's going to take a fight against Royval, who's an extremely dangerous matchup for literally anybody on short notice? You've got a very short list of people, and a lot of them have just fought. Josh Van, that's the dude that's going to do it because he doesn't cut a lot of weight. To answer Effie's question, I don't think he cuts a lot of weight. I think this dude could make atom weight if they had, or at least straw weight if they had a men's straw weight division.
Really small. He's even small for flyweight. So it's
he was shorter than Bruno Silva when they fought.
Yeah, and Bruno Silva's small, and I remember everybody being like, I don't know, there's value on Bruno Silva, and I was like, I kind of get it, but I don't get it because Van's gonna wreck him. And it was one of those things where because I think we were on the panel, or not on the panel. Was it the panel?
Yeah, on my channel.
It was. Because I remember talking to you, Mike, and you and everybody was saying that.
I put a quarter unit on Bruno Silva.
Exactly, and I said I would rather bet Josh Van at minus 700 than Bruno Silva at plus. And everybody thought I was absolutely insane, and you could say there was value on the Silva line, but I don't think so. I feel like Van proved that. He just went out there and did it. Effie, since you're in the chat, dude, we missed it earlier. We needed you. Is there any truth to the rumor that Peyton Talbot's been seen training at Syndicate, at least some of this camp? Is there any truth to that rumor? Let me know, because usually know this kind of stuff. Bruno Silva had a broken face for 5 fights. I mean, didn't, looked pretty tough in most of those, but either way, it's fair enough. I mean, broken face or not, dude still went in there and fought his tail off. So I want Josh Van here for a couple of reasons. One, I'm kind of waiting back to hear from him on something, and he could be one of my top 5 favorite fighters after this if he can pull through. He's the man. So there's that, but also like the dude, like it's hard to pick against Josh Van with the way that he fights. He seems to be improving too, because like his takedown defense has looked better. It's and I look, I like, so you have a lot of good opinions, Groundskeeper. This is one I disagree with. I think he would have looked good against those people regardless of whether their faces are broken or not. And that's the thing. Like Royval was, like Pegasus was saying, Royval was coming off of some severe concussion issues not that long ago. So if Van looks good against people with broken faces, a dude that had severe concussion issues and had to pull out the first time he was booked against Cop, yeah, I mean, for me, I got to go with Josh Van. So I'm going to take Josh Van. I think he's got a lot of upside. I think his pace is insane. His takedown defense is improved. He's cool as heck too. So Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm so tired of picking wrong on Josh Van. I think in the community, I probably have one of the worst records on Van. Like, I don't think I've ever bet him. And
they just bet him every time.
What'd you say?
They just bet him every time.
Yeah, I have.
Right.
I don't think I've bet him a single time. I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to think now because I'm looking at his record. So when he debuted against Zalgas, I didn't touch it. I backed Borjas. I backed Bunez. I backed Charles. I got that one over him. I didn't touch the Charas fight. I backed Durden. I didn't touch the Tsuruya fight. And I had a quarter unit on Silva. So I've been wrong on this dude so much. And most of it has stemmed from not believing in his grappling. And funny enough, who does he struggle with? Not the grapplers. The grapplers he excels against, because turns out over at 4 Ounce Fight Club, somehow him and Daniel Pineda have figured out the elite takedown defense. Because my point has always been, yeah, he's young. Yes, he's improving. But how on earth am I supposed to believe that his takedown defense is going to get that much better when he's at 4 Ounce Fight Club with Ike Villanueva and Daniel Pineda? But something's working over there clearly, because his takedown defense is sick. His scrambling is really good. And because of that, now for him, it's easier to fight a grappler than it is a striker. Because against strikers, he's small. He takes far too many shots. And he's a little bit chinny at this point. You know, that's kind of my concern with Van, is that I do think he's probably a future champ. He's clearly a future title challenger. But I don't know how long this durability is going to go. With the way he fights, like, he might have to wrap it up at a pretty young age because of the way he's fight, because of the damage he's taken. Like, Charles Johnson got him with the clean shot, but like that shot's not knocking out most of the flyweight division. And I think the only reason it knocked out Van is because of his style and because how much damage he's already taken. And he's so active. He takes no breaks, which is awesome for us fans. I love to see him in there. I feel like it's not the best thing for his career. But what do I know? He's about to fight for a title if he wins this fight at 23 years old, you know? So dude's a stud. And then with Royval, like on paper, yeah, Royval shouldn't be an underdog. Like on paper, I don't think there's any way you can get to, like, if we're just looking at the papers, just at the records, just what they've accomplished, where they're at, like Royval on paper has the jiu-jitsu advantage clearly. Royval has fought the better competition. There's no debate there. He's been at the top of the division. He's gone strike for strike with the best guys. So yeah, it may like, I don't think, like, I understand why people's gut reaction is like Royval. My gut reaction was also Royval. But then I'm watching it and it's like, all right, is Royval going to offensively wrestle? No. Can he pick up a sub off a scramble or off the fence or off a club and sub? Yeah, he can. That's on the table for sure. And could he catch Van with something like a step in knee? I think the step in knees will be money because he's a taller guy and Van is very, very small and he fights with forward pressure. So what do? He's forward pressuring you and you throw the step in knee. I think that'll be money for him. The spinning moves, you know, if Shiras could do it, maybe Royval can. I get all that. But what I noticed the most is Royval, that chin is right up when he's in the pocket. And I do think he got better in the pocket. Like against Tsuruya, he looked pretty nice in the pocket. He looked pretty fast. Reaction times were on point. Counters were on point. But the chin's right there. And Tyra, God bless him, he's a great grappler, but he's not a striker. He's not. you go in the pocket with Van and you got your chin up, Van's probably going to touch it, especially with the way he digs to the body first. I just tend to think sooner or later he's going to be landing big shots. I don't necessarily think he knocks out Royval, but I do think he's going to win the moments. I think he's likely to win minutes. I wonder what he like. All right, because I look at Royval and I kind of think to myself, it's like, in a way, it's similar to Charles, who we're going to talk about later, in that you knock him down but not out. Then you got two options. You either follow him to the ground where he's really dangerous, or you let him back up and then take your luck. I don't know what Van's going to do. If Van follows him down to the ground, that might be a problem. If he lets him back up, that might give Royval time to recover. So I feel like that's going to be tricky for Van to deal with. There's a lot of things here. You can go really both sides. I could talk all night long about this, especially with another White Claw in me. But ultimately, like, I just picked Van because I'm tired of picking against him, and I don't think I'm going to have any money on this fight. And I just think that he's going to have a lot of success in the pocket. I think the pressure should work. I know a lot of people are saying, you know, one of Van's best attributes is his output. He throws a ton of volume, but so does Royval, so he won't really have that advantage here. Sure, like I get it, but I also think that he's going to put Royval on his back foot in a different way than a lot of people have. I don't think Royval has faced a ton of that, and I just think that unless he gets chinned, which is 100% on the table, that should pay off for him. So yeah, I think Van gets it done. He's got that aura, the word I used to hate, and yeah. But I 100% understand the dog shots on Royval. Like, if you made me make a play, I'd probably pick Van because I don't want to lose anymore. But logically, Royval would make more sense.
You know Van's going to dive to the ground and go for a leg lock if he knocks him down, right?
Dude, absolutely. He's heel hooking
That's
right
why we're
away.
here. That's why this is why we do what we do.
I think we're overrating Van's power a little bit. I think it's recency bias. He knocked down the midget Bruno Silva 3 times, but before that, he has 1 knockdown against Felipe.
I didn't really
Nunez.
say much about his power. I don't think he's necessarily going to knock out Royval.
I did. I think it's his body
down.
shot, though. I think it's the body work that he does that really opens everything else up. And I think he's going to hurt Royval to the body, honestly. I think that's where he's going to hurt him because southpaw, when you throw that jab, the right liver shot's right there, and he's going to work it all day. So
It's a great fight. I think I like under.
It's a sick fight. This is the best, in my opinion. This is the best fight on the card.
I hope it's a round 2 finish, Evan.
It's a fight that I don't want to have money on because I just want to be able to enjoy it. This fight is one that makes me wish I didn't have content creation as something I had to do, because I have to make a pick, and then if I get a pick wrong, all I got to deal with is people just like ripping me in the comments for the next week. I just want to enjoy this fight. Like, this is such a good fight. Like,
who was the leg lock against that Van went for?
You what?
Who was the leg lock? Like, who did Van go for a leg lock?
Was that Chires?
It was Chires.
Yeah.
And I had him by finish, and I was just like, come on, man. This is what we're doing. This is what we're going to go for here.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. Also, shout out to Cowboy from Hell jumping in with the Pantera reference. I love that. A little bit of trucker metal for everybody here. Can't go wrong. Like to see it. Okay, you hoping that he gets a flash KO so you can fade him against Pantoja. I mean, is it fading a guy against the champion, or is it just like you're betting on the champion because he's
I need the opposite, bro. I need this to be competitive so I can get Van plus 200, not fucking
if Pantoja is the champion at the time, right? That's also that.
We'll be talking about that soon, baby.
We'll be talking real soon. Yeah. Seriously, him going for that leg lock was absolutely absurd. Effie, answer my earlier question though.
Did someone else on this card also do that? I feel like
I'm sure.
Was it Talbot against Barcelos? Someone on the card also went for a stupid leg lock when they shouldn't have, and I don't remember who it was.
Well, what's his name? Who got, or did Hermanson get the calf splicer, or did
that's not who I was thinking of.
He got calf splicer.
Hermanson with that.
Yeah, that's what it was. I think someone got calf splicer.
That was one of my worst losses ever. I was so heavy on Hermanson.
I
was certain that Hermanson was going to cook him. And then that happened, and I was like, I don't even know what to do with this information.
I think I cried, like legit tears.
Yeah, that's fighters making good choices in the middle of a fight is okay. So more often than not, most fighters are making pretty reasonable choices. It's just when they make a bad choice, it sticks out like a sore thumb, and it looks really bad, and that's what we remember. Like, if you just take 15 minutes of every single fight, most of the time they're making rational, at least semi-rational decisions in there. But when they make something like make a crazy decision, like diving for a leg lock and like Van did over Shirez, that's just that's where you start to wonder, you know? So
like Folk says, dare to be great, man. You got to do it.
exactly. Dare to be great. Go for the leg lock. And if it doesn't hit, you still win. So whatever, you know, no consequences. But we can move on to the co-main event. Let's see. That one, let's see. Evan started, so that means Pegasus is starting this one. The co-main event of the evening for the flyweight championship of the world. Alessandre Pantoja versus Kai Kara France. Pegasus, who do you have?
Yeah, I'm on Pantoja here to get it done. I think the champion wins again. Obviously, a lot of people are, it's funny. You see a lot of people talk about like, oh, these guys fought, go back and watch that fight. That fight was 9 years ago, and both fighters have improved greatly pretty much everywhere. So I don't really, you can't put too much credit to it. You can watch it, I guess, stylistically to an extent, but like what you're going to see is that obviously the initial takedown defense of Kai Kara France is some of the best in the division. We know it's hard to take him down. He's Maori, right? So he's the one who gets the power. He has a ton of power there. And I think what this fight comes down to in reality is the chin of Pantoja going to give up finally? Because he gets hit. We know that. He gets caught in the chin every single fight, but for some reason his head's made out of steel. So there are fighters and people who just have that. And if that's the case, I think it's going to be a long night for Kai. Just because I think he kind of needs, most of his equity is probably in a finish if he's to win. I think he goes to a decision. It's going to be close just because, you know, we've seen Pantoja time and time again kind of slow down in later rounds, kind of like we saw against Urseg. But at the same time, he's got that like crazy gas tank where like, even though he looks tired, he's just not tired and he just keeps going. Another thing too is what I like about it is you got to look at the back take, right? That we see time and time again against Kai Kara France. I'm sure I see Mike rolling his eyes because that's what everyone's going to talk about this week. Because you got Bontarin got it. Oscar Oskarov got it. Which, by the way, what happened to that guy? I looked at his thing and it's kind of crazy. His resume. Can't believe he's gone.
Yeah, he just didn't sign with them again. He just left.
That's crazy. But he's also only 32 right now, which is also interesting. But yeah, all these guys get Kai's back. Kai's pretty good at defending the rear naked choke and stuff, but he's never been on the ground with a jiu-jitsu player like Pantoja, right? And Pantoja lately, I will say, I think Pantoja has power as well. Like Pantoja throws pretty hard. He throws that left hook really hard, and he's not afraid to get hit. So I think these are the type of things that are going to help him in this fight. Kai Kara France is going to win rounds without a doubt, especially if Pantoja can't get a takedown. Kai is the better striker for sure. Not saying that. But the thing about Pantoja's takedowns is they're not always takedowns, right? He's good at stopping like the double leg, the single leg, Kai Kara France. Pantoja pushes you into the clinch and jumps on you. And then it's like, now he's on your back. Now he's got a figure four lock. Now he's on top of you. So it's like, you don't really see, there is no takedown defense for that. You can't defend that. He's jumping on top of you. So I think that's where Pantoja is going to find the grappling success that he has, is when he gets you up against the clinch and then he starts working his way against the cage to your back. And now he's behind you and it's tough from there. So I think that's where the difference is going to be, where the takedown defense may not help him as much, because we've seen Pantoja wrestle, absolutely. But in the same sense, I think like this is going to sound really dumb. If there's a value play, the value play is Kai Kara France, 110%. Plus 200 on a guy like Kai Kara France. I was on him against El Bazzi. I think he won that fight. It's kind of bullshit we lost there. But value play, you got to be on Kai Kara France. If you think he's going to get the knockout, I'd bet that too. But I just think like this guy Pantoja, although he's 35, he's not one of those champions where he has the belt, he's settled in, he's made his money, he's happy. He's going out every single fight and fighting like he's fighting for the belt. And that's what you want in a champion. So I took Pantoja. I parlayed him with Ilia Topuria, both early lines. I think it was like minus 200 on Pantoja and minus 400 on Topuria. So I put that parlay in. That's the only way I bet Pantoja. But yeah, I think Pantoja and still.
Fair enough. Now, this fight, every time Pantoja fights, I get a little bit upset because the disrespect that this man gets it's absurd.
Yeah.
He is He's like, what, number 10 or 11 on the pound for pound list. There are non-champions ahead of him. He's the only freaking champion that deserves the number 1 ranking right now. Islam is not the champion, so you can't give him. Otherwise, I would say Islam could be number 1 as well. If nothing else, Pantoja is number 2 pound for pound. The dude has lapped his division and beaten some of them 3 times. Everybody. There's the consensus second best guy in the division. He's beaten him 3 times. This is absurd at this point. It's insulting. Whoever's making this pound for pound ranking, they need to jump off a bridge, like head first. This is absurd. That's the dumb, like they have no business making pound for pound rankings. It's upsetting. It makes me angry for Pantoja. And the only way he'll ever get any respect is if he goes up and fights Merab. And that's what sucks, is because, yeah, he's tiny. You think this guy's going to beat Merab? No, Merab's a freaking meatball. He's going to pick him up and put him down. And there's nothing, like the amount of skill it would take for Pantoja to be able to beat somebody the size of Merab is just, it's not there. Yeah. Like you'd have to be so much better, because size doesn't matter at all if skill isn't close. Like if you are trained and the person that is bigger than you hasn't trained a day in their life, they're just big, yeah, you're probably going to wreck them. It's different when they're both champions in the UFC. If skill is close, size matters a whole lot. And Merab is a meatball of a man, whereas Pantoja, he's very small. The dude might be 5'5". He might be 5'3". So, for me, I think it's absurd that they don't give this guy the respect he deserves. Pantoja is by far 1 or 2 pound for pound for me. And even if he loses on Saturday, I don't think that changes where his resume should have put him as far as pound for pound goes. It's absurd. Pound for pound, silly. They just don't like him because he's little. But yeah, the dude is an absolute legend. I think he wins here. This will just be another case of him lapping the division, because I know it was like 9 years ago, but having 2 wins over Kai Kara France ain't nothing to scoff at. Like, that's impressive. So I'm taking Pantoja. It's not a very technical breakdown. I just think he's the best flyweight on the planet right now. There are some coming up. Don't get me wrong, like Josh Van's coming up, but I think Pantoja is just that dog, man. He's the dog. Don't you see these like wrinkles on the forehead, brother? I'm like looking old. Every time I look at the camera, I'm looking old.
Babies have forehead wrinkles too.
Yeah, these are old people forehead wrinkles though. Like, you can see that, but that's all right. I appreciate you saying I look young. Thank you. That's very nice of you. Mike, let me hear what you got on this one. I rambled too much.
Before I go, I just pulled out the pound for pound rankings. This is actually so crazy, dude. He's under fucking Alex Pereira, who's not even champion anymore. He's under Jack Della Maddalena, who just became champion. Like, what are we doing, bro? He's under Magomed, who also just became champ. Like,
are we ready to riot?
Don't get me started. But anyways,
I'm ready to riot. We can start burning stuff down. Let's go.
I can't do that, but I'll preface my breakdown with this. I love Pantoja. I liked Pantoja before it was cool. I backed him for a long time. I backed him when he went for the title against Moreno as the underdog. I backed him against Royval. I backed him against a lot of people. But I just feel like if anybody's going to beat him, I think Kai's got one of the best chances. And I've got a challenge for you guys watching. Try to find a single person who's backing Pantoja here this week and says there's value on his line without them banking completely on the back take. You're not gonna find it. Literally every single person backing Pantoja who is laying the chalk and saying the chalk makes sense is banking on the back take. And I don't think it's enough. I do think he's the rightful favorite. He's the champ. He's the one who has the wrestling advantage. Yes. Kai does give his backup. Yes, sure. But I just think this line doesn't make any sense to me. And if we're going to talk about that first fight, like nobody's talked about this, Pantoja couldn't take him down. And when he did, like once or twice, he couldn't hold him down at all. He couldn't. And yes, Pantoja still won that fight on the feet. You could throw that right back at me and say, how about that? And I'll tell you, Kai was scared of the takedowns. He was he was like 23, 22 years old. He was literally scared of the takedowns. His corner told him that. And I just don't think he's going to come out here and he's going to be scared of the takedowns. I don't. His takedown defense is elite. His scrambling is elite. Yes, he can have his back taken, but is he getting submitted? No. He's defending those rear nakeds. Is Pantoja on another level? Yes. Do I think he's going to sub him? I don't. I think he can, not maybe. I think Pantoja is more than likely to take the back at least once here and probably bank at least one round. Sure. That's why I think he's the rightful favorite, the grappling. But I just don't think it's going to be enough. And on the feet, I think that Kai hits harder. I think Kai's a cleaner striker. But most important to me is Kai has better defense. Kai is a lot more defensively sound than Pantoja. Pantoja's chin is eventually going to go. He's 35 years old. How many times has the man been hurt? I mean, Matt Schnell, my guy, the legend, heard him. Many people have heard him. And it's just like, this line doesn't make any sense to me at all. I think this is a clear dogger pass. I like Kai all day here. I think he's going to stuff the takedowns. I think he's going to make this a very close fight. I think it's going to be competitive. But if somebody gets a knockout, I think it's going to be Kai. If somebody's going to be winning minutes on the feet, I think it's going to be Kai. And I just think all the value is on him here personally. So that's where I'm at.
Like I said, I agree with you. If there's a value side, it's 100%.
Yeah, but you parlayed Pantoja. So how does that make any sense? If you parlay Pantoja, how do you think there's value on
just
Kai?
Pick winners? Just pick winners. That's all that is. He's just Pantoja's the winner, and that's why you pick him, because he's going to figure out a way to win this fight. He always does. He always does.
He is a winner.
Yeah, he is a winner. I'll give you that.
He is a darn good winner.
No comment on the rest, but I'll give you that.
35-year-old curse thing.
It's gone.
Volk,
it's dead.
Volk won it at 37, right? Glover at 43. Merab is 35 now, right? So it's like, I don't know. I don't think it's.
I think Bilal was 35 as well.
I never believed in that, Kurt. I hate all these stupid narratives. Nobody. They cherry pick it. Why do you think they picked 35 and not a different age?
Ooh,
because that worked for their little narrative that they came up with.
Mike, I got a good question for you too.
Let's go.
Kai is 1-2 in his last 3, right? He's 8-4 in the UFC. How many of his last opponents are still in the UFC that he's beat?
Bontorian's gone. Not that many.
Only Urseg and Garbrandt, the only 2 left. Other than that, all the rest are either out of the UFC, probably because of age more than skill, say. And Askarov, I don't know why he's gone. Because that is probably, I think, his most impressive win is that Askarov fight.
And if we're going to do MMA math, Kai Kara-France beat Askarov and Pantoja lost.
Isn't that crazy that Askarov beat Pantoja too?
Styles make fights, bro. Styles make fights.
They do.
The champion has a name, and his name is Kai Kara-France.
No.
Yes. Let's go.
No, real talk, I love Alexander Pantoja more than he's my favorite fighter. I love him. He's my favorite fighter. He's never in a bad fight. His fights are electric. If you look at his strength of schedule, his resume, it's like I don't see any flyweights coming close to this. Again, he's lapping the division. You know, he's thrice beat Brandon Moreno. You know what I mean? Like he's an absolute stud. I love him, and I want him to remain champ. I really think Kai has a good shot to get it done. I gotta take a stab on Kai, and it comes down to a lot of what you guys have been talking about, Mike. I think you made a great point about Kai's takedown defense is ironclad these days. He beat Amir Albazi, by the way. We're talking about his strength of schedule.
I think we all know that.
He beat Amir Albazi.
I was on Kai.
Right?
On that
and then he ices Steve Urseg. You know what I mean? He iced Garbrandt. He iced Bontorin. Guy hits hard for a flyweight, man. And Pantoja is super durable. He's been knocked down once in the UFC by Figgy. Every dog has their day. You know what I mean? Like he's winning some pretty close fights here. That fight against Urseg was very close. And Pantoja landed 9 takedowns, and it was still a very close fight. You know what I mean? So he's not going to get 9 takedowns here. He landed 3 takedowns against Asakura. That was a mismatch, in hindsight. He landed 8 takedowns against Roy Val. He's not going to get 8 takedowns here. He's not going to get 9 takedowns. He might get 1 or 2. Like how many takedowns were we projecting Pantoja to get here? Maybe he does win a round with a back take. He probably does, but there's 5 rounds. I think it's gonna be a very, very close fight, man. And I think that the clear value is on Kai Kara-France. Askarov was 2 of 14 on takedowns against Kai. Amir Albazi was 1 of 9. Brandon Moreno was 0 of 3, right? So that's, he's given up 3 takedowns in his last 26 takedowns attempted against him. Pantoja's not getting 8 or 9 takedowns. He might get 2, maybe 3. But that's not enough to win rounds these days. And it's a damage-based criteria. And he's had a nice run. He's had a great run. I love Pantoja, but I think it's Kai. I think Kai's an easy click this week. I really do.
Damn, that's heartbreaking.
Evan knows ball.
That's right.
I don't want to. I don't check.
Hey, 138. We'll check back. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll check back. That's
Sharp
good.
side is
Check
back.
back.
Sharp
Circle
side is
back
the
on
underdog
this.
here.
Yeah, the guys with minus 230, and one of them said that the value's on Kai, but parlayed minus 230. Y'all gonna check back? All right.
We'll check
Honestly,
back. Don't worry.
I feel like this is just a thing where we're gonna think that the value is on Kai up until we start seeing that Pantosia's not shooting takedowns on him. He's just ripping him to the mat. They're not takedowns. That's what he does. He just rips you to the mat. He doesn't shoot takedowns.
Why couldn't he do that when he was younger at 26, much closer to his athletic prime?
I mean, he
If it's not technique and he's just ripping him down, why couldn't he?
Icar France wasn't even at City Kickboxing.
Yeah, that's true.
When they first fought. That was such a long time ago.
And he
Let's
stuffed
just throw that out
everything,
the
bro.
window.
He was so on point with the takedown defense.
Like I said, I don't really put too much into that just because both fighters got so much better.
Yeah, but one of them's 35 now and has taken how much damage?
Athletic prime.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I think he'll be okay.
I feel
I don't know,
confident
brother. I don't
that
know.
The sharp side is Kai here.
I'm believing in the cannibal
There's
here.
there's a lot of sharp people on Kai.
Wait, I like Wixon's comment. Who would win in a fight, me or Evan? Evan, how tall are you?
6'1", 6'1.5".
Did you ever wrestle?
7th grade.
Do you do jujitsu?
I've done 10 jiu-jitsu classes.
Okay, I think I could beat Evan.
If you can get him down, you probably got him. You might have some trouble on the feet.
I have no striking, so if he can stuff a takedown, he'll knock me out. But otherwise, I think I could beat him.
How tall are you, Mike?
5'9", average height in America.
What do you weigh?
I like back that up.
I love how you brought up the average height in America.
I'm like 185. I'm on the fatter side. I got thick thighs.
Okay, I have thick calves, so well, I don't know. We'll see. It's very binary. Take the under.
I would spar with Evan.
Yeah, I'm down.
How much do you weigh, Evan?
Like 190.
Okay, you guys are close in weight. That's legit.
Yeah.
I know a guy that can make this happen if you guys want to come out to Nebraska for a sanctioned bout.
Tyler
I'm recovering from an
dying
injury
to get us over to
Nebraska.
Dude, I've been trying this forever. Dude, Nebraska is an unregulated MMA state. You literally just have to not have hepatitis or HIV. And
if I ever go to Nebraska, Tyler, the sole purpose of my trip is going to be to go see your metal shack. I need to see that in person. You guys don't even know this dude has a fucking zombie apocalypse door as his front door. You know, like those big wooden things that you put down and the zombies start breaking on the door, but they can't get through. That's what Tyler has in his house.
That's literally what locks my front door. Yeah.
The best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. I'm at my wife's house right now. Like, I still have my bunker because I can't part with it. But
you should never part with that bunker.
It's so sick, dude. It's so sick. Like, I'm ready for it. Speaking of coming to Nebraska to find me, dude, somebody in my comments this week said he was going to come find me. And I was like, dude, please. Gosh, that would be so much fun. But like, I get those comments sometimes and they never come to fruition. Nobody ever shows up. I'm not hard to fight.
I never got any threats before. I probably get
threats.
Yeah. I mean, I get more hate than I think like 95% of the space, but I don't get threats, not physical.
I get at least 2 or 3 a month.
Nobody wants to mess with these eyebrows, baby.
Dude. Yeah. Dude, they saw your Warrior Cage grappling and they're like, man, this guy can defend an armbar like it's nobody's business.
For a whole round. This dude can defend an armbar for 3 minutes. I don't want that smoke.
Dude,
the fact that you ended up in that situation was so funny, bro.
Dude, I just finished, how it happened. I pulled up to do commentary. I literally just finished one of those extra large iced coffees from Starbucks. Finished the entire thing. Walked through the door, and the guy who runs the whole thing, Rogers, super cool guy. He was like, Mike, we're low on dudes today. Would you be down to compete? And I looked at like who was there, and I was like, I'm down. Sure. I wrestled. I'll try. But there was one guy, William Gorman. He's a boss, but he's a heavyweight. I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, if I come home with like an injury because I tried to go up against Gorman, a heavyweight, my fiance would kill me. So I was like, not him, but I'll try out the other two. And I think I did decent for a guy who doesn't know anything.
You did amazing, dude.
Really, my plan, desk, you can't complain.
In my head, the idea was duck under and take the back because that's literally the only submission I know. But I'm also a wrestler, and if I see a double leg, I just can't help myself. So I double legged him, and then I was clueless. I was like, I spent half the round trying to remember if forearm chokes were allowed because it was right there. I could have stuffed my forearm into his neck, but I didn't know if it was allowed or not, so I didn't.
I'm sure it is.
And then
feel
I just got too tired. I got so tired between rounds, and we do submission only. Like there's no decisions anymore.
Yeah.
You have to sub them. And I was like, I don't have the gas tank for this. Like if this was a decision-based thing, huh?
Or the toolbox. If your only thing you had was a forearm choke, you were screwed. There's no way you're subbing this dude.
Yeah, there was no chance. And the dude's a blue belt too, so he's quite a bit ahead of me. So after I made it out of the first round, going into the second, I was like, bro, go for a takedown. If he gillies you, just give it to him. And that's exactly what I did.
Dude, seriously, that you did fantastic. And also congrats, Wick son, dude. That's sick in your blue belt. It's once you get that, that's when most people quit.
So let the journey stop there.
That's seriously. Don't be that person, but it happens to so many. You get the blue belt and you're like, I know enough. I'm good.
Yeah.
I get it. Because the blue belt, now everybody wants to like test, like all the white belts now want to like mess you up. And then you got to just keep turning them back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to keep turning them back. So hang in there, dude. That's sick. But dude, Mike, you got to start getting your jiu-jitsu classes going. Like you're the man.
Yeah, I don't want to end up like all the rest of you with back injuries though. And everybody in the space who tells me, Mike, go do jiu-jitsu, they have either a back, shoulder injury or a neck injury every single time. My ankle still hurts from the second match I had. The dude ankle locked me, ankle whatever, heel hooked me. And I didn't know what to do. I fought it for like 10 seconds and then I just started tapping because that thing hurt. Still hurts, bro. Every time I try to drive and I press the gas pedal, my ankle hurts.
I was literally just telling Evan before we start that I can't really turn my head to the side right now because I was being a dummy when I was rolling with
and
the
you
black
just want me
belt
to do
today.
jujitsu?
Yeah.
I get back pain from not doing anything. I picked up a box of envelopes the other day and my back started hurting me.
Okay, that's kind of rough. But
and I'm only 27.
Also, just think, knowing that like when someone comes up to you and like starts to get a little confident that like I could strangle this person, and that's kind of sick, man. Like it's kind of a nice feeling.
Just take them down. Ground and pound is legal in a street fight, not in my grappling competition.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's fair. But like,
if anything, I'd rather learn how to go strike.
You say that until you get somebody that ends up taking you down, and then you're cooked. So
good luck. I got good takedown defense.
There you go. Anyway, we can talk about the main event. That sounds like a great idea. Let's see. I think I have to start this one, unfortunately.
Is there a lot to talk about? That's my question.
There's a little to talk about. It's basically just how sad I'm gonna be because it's Ilia Topuria, the final undefeated fighter on this card, taking on Charles Oliveira. If you're like been living under a rock and you don't know that's what we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Oliveira win. Like, it's hard to not be a fan of the guy. I just don't think it's happening. I think Ilia is probably going to get him. I think he probably knocks him out. I know a lot of people are saying the sub. It's possible, but it would have to be kind of a club and sub situation with the way that Ilia just slings these bombs, man. I think if he slings that bomb, I don't think there's anything left for Oliveira to sub. I think it's over. So, yeah, unfortunately, Ilia is probably going to knock him out. I'm going to say round 2 because that seems to be the time that he's been doing his work. So that's all I've got on this one. Mike, what about you?
I think Ilia is going to sub him.
Nice.
I think for guys with Ilia's build, not his build, with his skill set, guys like Islam, I think for them, it's a lot easier to submit somebody like Charles than it is to knock him down. Knock him out, I mean. Knock him down is very easy. Most people can do it. Yeah. But everybody, like, in my opinion, Topuria is a nightmare matchup for Charles. And I understand Charles is the most dangerous guy Topuria's ever fought. I understand Charles is much bigger. But first of all, about the size thing, is Charles coming out here and keeping people at range? No,
he wants to go into the clinch.
No. He goes right into the clinch or the pocket. Like, he's not keeping anybody at range. He's not fighting behind a jab. So, like, what the hell does the size really matter then? Other than unless you're going to say, like, oh, he's just going to be a lot stronger than Topuria, which I just don't think is going to be the case. In the clinch, sure, but I think Topuria would just take him down if they're in the clinch.
Also, the face-off they just did today didn't look all that much bigger.
I mean, you never know with those face-offs because they're wearing shoes and they wear different shoes for if they're doing the press conference. Like at weigh-ins, they have to wear the same shoes if they're wearing them. Or sometimes they're barefoot and that's why they look different sizes, but they could have been wearing different shoes. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't think that's a big problem. If anything, I think it feeds more into Topuria's game because Charles's chin is just that much higher up and easier for him to clip. And I think because of the size, Topuria is going to be that much harder to take down. Is Charles going to change levels all that much and shoot a double? Like, no, come on. I don't think so.
I
So
think
for
it's
me-
just like the Islam fight, same exact thing.
For me, I just think that for guys like Islam, guys like Taporia, it's a lot easier to either A, knock him down, chase him to the ground, which most people are scared to do, and then submit him, or B, just take him down and submit him. I think both options are on the table. I think it's tricky to knock him out because even if you're willing to follow him to the ground and you start throwing ground and pound, then you're giving him your arm. Then you're just giving him more opportunities. If you know an arm triangle, if you know how to take a back or any kind of submission, then you can work him. And a lot of people, like, I guess, don't realize or haven't been around that long. But when Taporia got into the UFC, he got here based off of his grappling, not his striking. Yeah, his striking was starting to get good already, but nobody, when he made his debut, nobody was like, this dude's going to be one of the best boxers.
He was a grappler.
He was a grappler. He was an elite grappler, and he's really slick with it. And I think that he's going to, the way I see it, I think he's going to knock him down, chase him to the ground because he's not scared, and then submit him. But I think he can take him down and submit him too. I don't think he necessarily has to hurt him first. I just think that'll make his life easier. But yeah, dude, he has the teep, but he doesn't use it to keep the distance. He uses it as a weapon, but when is he actually maintaining the range? He's not. He doesn't have the footwork. He doesn't have, that's just not his skill set.
He
And
pokes it until he's ready to crash.
yeah, like it is what it is. But
Go ahead.
what'd you say, Peg?
That's the reason too why I think it's going to be a round 2 sub or knockout, because it's going to take, I think, Taporia a little bit of time to get his range, figure out the long man, everything like that. But once Taporia, like he does, like 138 said, every fight, it's Ilya. Kind of like Max is starting to have success, Volk is starting to have success, but Ilya's just making his reads. It's kind of like Peter Yan. Make your reads, figure it out. Once he figures it out, then it's over. Once he starts putting the combos together, 4 or 5 punches, fight's over.
The only thing I have that I think Mike was inaccurate about is he might be forgetting about this. He said the most dangerous fighter that Ilya's faced is Charles Oliveira, but I don't think you remember. The dude fought Ryan Hall. Mr. 50-50 himself.
Dude, I was camping with my friends when that fight happened, and one of them just listened to some random dude and bet Ryan Hall, and I was like, do you know what you just bet on? He was like, no. I was like, okay, then watch this.
Watch this fight.
I bet on Bryce Mitchell against the
But I wanted
the same.
I mean, I thought that Taporia would smoke him, but I could understand the Bryce Mitchell play a lot more than I can understand a Ryan Hall play. But is anybody else getting a gut feeling that it's not going to be Charles versus Taporia? It's going to be Armin versus Taporia?
You know,
dude,
I was thinking this.
I don't know what it is. I just have that feeling that something tomorrow is going to go wrong, and it's going to be Armin.
I'm going
to lose money backing Armin because I'm 100% backing Armin.
Because Key was like in our group chat, he was like, Charles is doing the same thing for his weight cut that he does on like Friday, where he's laying down, doing all that. He's doing that on Wednesday. So he's trying to get down to do that and get down to fight weight on Wednesday. Things aren't going well in that camp. So
I don't know what it is, but yeah, that might have been what set me off. But I have this gut feeling that it's going to be Armin versus Taporia. But
hopefully, Armin,
that's how Chuck lost the belt too. He lost the belt because of his weight cut. So it's like, I don't know.
Honestly, I think Taporia beats Armin.
I think so too.
Yeah, but not.
You think glass chin Armin's gonna try and come on, bro?
Glass chin.
I would favor Armin.
Glass chin. Armin.
Man of reason. And who are you guys? Who are you listeners gonna believe? The guys who have Jacoby Smith and the fight goes and Tracy Cortez Arugio parlayed, or the two dudes using their brains, huh?
Bro, locks
against Oliveira. Though, real quick,
where do you think Armin finds success?
Fight doesn't start round 3. Minus 135 on DraftKings, minus 156 on FanDuel seems kind of good.
Evan's like, can you guys stop talking bullshit for 30 seconds? I'm gonna go back to the main.
If it's Armin, I'll bet Armin as a dog, and if it's this fight, I'm gonna play fight doesn't start round 3.
What did you got that on DraftKings at?
Minus 135.
I love that bet. Isn't the under 2.5? And what's the under 2.5 at?
Well, it's on most books. It's under 1.5. Is what I find it. There are some 2.5s out there, like minus 145, excuse me, that's 1.5. Under 2.5, there's like minus 155, minus 160.
Okay.
Well, fight doesn't go. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Fight doesn't go.
Locks. There are I saw some guy put on Twitter, there's a way to same game parlay Taporia with under 2.5 or something like that, and you get minus 110 or minus 105 or something like that.
It's not bad.
So, not a bad way to play it.
I feel like Topuria decision is not off the table. Just
It's
saying.
definitely not off the table, but you're gonna hate yourself watching this fight. Like
I don't think it's on the
What
table.
if Charles wrestles and like actually gets wrestling going? That's the only like I was just living
The
in a
only guy who's
world
really
where,
wrestled
like,
in
what if
recent
that-
years is Michael Chandler, who
Right.
like sucks
That's
at
what I'm
wrestling
saying,
now.
and like that was Charles's last fight, right? Was
That's fair.
him wrestling him for 25 minutes. So like, what if Charles wrestles? Like,
Or what if Topuria has the wrestling to take down Charles, but I'm wrong about him having the jiu-jitsu to submit him?
Yeah, because if he doesn't drop him first on the feet, it's not like he's gonna get the like you can.
Like
sell him
I'm pretty confident that if Topuria shoots doubles or singles, he can hit it.
Oh yeah.
is
Without
Mark
hurting.
Felder
by
put away
decision?
Charles Oliveira with ground and pound from his guard. Like he just hates getting hit from any position.
Yeah.
He doesn't go out cold. He just stops fighting. And
Mike, what's the price on Topuria by decision?
What on earth is happening in our live comments?
Oh yeah, you just don't worry about that.
Topuria by decision
What is that?
It's something, man. I don't know.
plus
Somebody's
850 on Bet Online.
Too excited.
Plus 850 on FanDuel. I'm gonna assume that Bet Rivers probably is giving you 900.
I thought it would be higher.
Yeah, I feel like that should be over 1,000.
Gun to my head, if I had to figure out a way to play Topuria decision or sub. That's what I think.
Okay, I would play Topuria round 2, but that's where I'm at. I'm just gonna do that for now.
Yeah, I think that was best.
Yeah, getting a little crazy. Pegasus, you already said that you're on Topuria here. Do you have anything to add to this?
No.
No, I didn't think so either. We all are on Topuria, unless of course Armin steps in. Then we have some change.
Then we're split again.
Then we're split. Yeah, honestly, I think.
What would you line that fight?
Yeah, what
do I think it should be lined, or what do I think they're gonna do?
Armin
What?
Topuria, where do you line it? Opening line.
What do I line it?
Yeah.
Armin minus
Okay.
130.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I agree.
You make Armin the favorite.
Armin has the size. Armin a better offensive wrestler. Ilya better striking, better
Much
finishing
bigger.
upside.
So much bigger.
He's much bigger.
But I don't think Armin's way too far behind on the striking. I don't think he's as slick or as powerful, but I don't think he's way behind on technique. I think offensive wrestling upside is on Armin's side. Yeah, I just like
What about
Armin.
his chin?
Chin?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're gonna point your finger
exactly
at
what I'm
Armin's
gonna point
chin
out.
because he got hurt because of whatever the fuck his name is, I don't even remember right now.
The Brazilian guy.
Okay, and then Topuria and Jai Herbert.
Yeah, that was a crazy
Yeah. And Topuria in his last fight before the UFC debut.
People forget Bryce Mitchell was having success on the
People
feet.
forget, man.
Bryce Mitchell was having success on the feet. People forget that.
Bryce
don't.
Mitchell also took him down.
Yeah.
Bantamweight Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah.
True.
bad
He is
for
now
me.
a
Armin,
bantamweight.
baby, let's go.
I'm
Mac
crazy.
D, just real quick, I think we were unanimously on Benil Dariush as well. right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want the Mac D, if you want the details, scroll back and we'll give you like the breakdown. But yeah, we all said Dariush. As far as the line, what do you think that it actually opens at, Mike? Like, what do you think they actually put it at?
Topuria minus 150.
Books,
That's it.
if I had to guess, books are going to open it around 60% Topuria, and then market's going to bet it down to like minus 220, 225 is my guess. Because everybody hates Armin. I don't know why, but people hate him, which I'm fine with because I get better prices. But
I think they just don't like that he's like a rich boy or something, which is kind of a weird reason to
I
hate
love
the guy.
Armin.
But
that sounds like a personal problem. Yeah, I
think
love
that's
Armin.
why people hate him though. Like I'm not saying I dislike him for that reason. I'm saying I think that's why a lot of people do for some reason.
And he had to take his pants off to not lose to Charles, but we're not going to talk about
Yeah,
that.
he has elite jiu-jitsu defense. Oh, cry me a river, bro.
Dude, a lot of people did say Charles won that fight. I thought it was close. I think Armin should have won.
It was a
that thing.
close fight for sure.
It was really close. I had a bet on Charles, so I wanted him to win. And in the moment, I was like, Charles won. But looking back,
I always want Charles to win, but no, that fight could have been a 29-28 either way, honestly.
the only time I've ever
No, he
not
couldn't
wanted
have been,
Charles.
bro. It was
No.
not a 29-28 Charles. There's no way.
So you give what rounds did you give Armin?
The third
Okay. I
and
agree.
the second.
Okay. Was the choke the second
The
round?
choke was
It
the
was
first
and
round.
third.
First and third. In the third round, how the hell are you going to give him the round?
I don't give Charles the third round. I don't give Charles.
So then what other round?
I'm trying to remember how second round
Two
went,
was clear, Armin. 1 was close, and then 3 was Armin, in my opinion.
3 was definitely Armin.
I know people are giving
Charles. And
no, the debatable one that people are saying is the third round because Charles had the Darce and it was in because Armin had to go to his stomach. But outside of that, Armin won that round.
I thought the choke was the first. It wasn't the first round. The choke.
The
First and third, bro.
guillotine.
First and third. First was when he had to take his pants off. Third was when he had to drop.
Oh yeah. Then I remember that now.
Yeah.
And I had money on Armin too. And when he dropped, dude, I don't know jujitsu, so I didn't know that was the defense.
That's how you defend that.
I was like,
belly down to the mat.
I was like, no chance this dude just went out. And thank God he didn't.
Dude, optics wise, like I could see where like people were like, "Oh, dude, it looked like he went out." But yeah, you're
Ben asking Robbie Lawler situation where they call it.
Dude, that's
what I was worried about. Once I realized it was defense, but that he was doing it, I was like, dude, if this ref calls it right now because he thinks he goes out, like you can't even blame the ref really because I feel like it's reasonable.
They would have probably made a no contest though at that point.
Yeah, I guess.
But anyway. We've been rocking this thing for about 2 hours. We can wrap her up here. We've had a nice
like an hour and a half was just random bullshit.
Dude,
the rest
exactly. I mean, we lived, we laughed, we loved, we did the things. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. That's why we were here in the first place. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it around to everybody to tout their stuff. We've got like 90 some odd people watching though. So I know you're about to tune out right before we start telling you where to find everybody. So like the video on your way out at least.
Wait, to prevent that, Tyler, let's do a parlay at the end after we're done plugging ourselves.
Okay, deal. We'll do a real quick one at the end. Well, and just for Dixon, way at the beginning, we'll open the floor to be a potential PFL. But let's start with Evan. Evan, tell people where they can find you.
Just on Twitter, X, Evan_UFC. You can buy my picks if you want. You don't have to. I'm also collaborating with this guy, Lee Sterling. Great guy. Been handicapping sports for over 30 years. His website is paramountsports.com. So he crushes it on baseball, basketball. Twice he was the #1 handicapper for the year, 2 years in a row for covers.com. Really great guy. So I collaborate on his MMA picks with him. So that's paramountsports.com. And you could buy like individual cards, you know what I mean? So like he'll release this, UFC 317 card tomorrow. So check that out. Otherwise, just follow me on Twitter, Evan_UFC.
Absolutely. And I've linked Evan's Twitter in the description of this. Evan's a great follow. You're going to love it. So make sure you do it. Pegasus, tell people where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, guys, Picks by Pegasus on Twitter. Honestly, just join our Discord, BTL broadcast. We do a show every week. Usually it's on Tuesdays. We're doing it live tomorrow just because I was on vacation. We give out breakdowns, everything like that, picks, some of the best in the game, I think. But yeah, find us on Discord at BTL Broadcast. Find us on YouTube, BTL Broadcast.
Dude, honestly, all of you guys have been just like crushing it this year. Like,
yeah, it's been a good year for us.
It's been unreal. Like unreal. Like I was, I think it was, what day? When was that? It was the other day. I was streaming with somebody, and Dravi jumps in the chat and he's like, "Yo, what's up, guys?" Whatever. And I was like, "Yo, if you guys had just cashed out your 401k and put it on whatever the heck Dravi's betting, like you probably would have tripled it." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
he's on an unreal run.
Unreal.
I'm going to join in and plug Beat the Line broadcast because it's one of the best shows because you get very good picks and you get the best entertainment in the game. They spend about 5% of that show breaking down fights. They spend the other 95% roasting Pegasus.
Yep.
And you also get to listen to Pegasus try to pronounce names, which is the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's
there was one where you just said the most out-of-pocket pronunciation I've ever heard. And then you tried again and you said it even more wrong. You know what I'm talking about, right? It was like
I remember. That was a bad one. I mean, the Baku card was pretty bad too for Azerbaijan.
There was one where you said it was so off, and then you corrected yourself even worse. It was the best thing. But yeah, check out the Beat the Line broadcast.
Thanks, appreciate it, Mike. 138, Evan. We got to get all you guys on at some point. We're gonna start booking.
You know where to find me, brother.
Absolutely.
Awesome, Mike. Tell everybody what you got coming up.
Okay, Couch Warrior Podcast on YouTube, Couch Warrior Pod on Twitter. Any likes, follows would be very appreciated. Subscriptions on YouTube, it would be great. Have House of Picks. House of Stims is where you get my bets, my notes, my breakdowns. If you need help finding it, it's in the description in my Twitter. But you can also DM me, and I'll just send you that way. And then for my personal channel, I'm about to hit 1 million views. I'm like 35K views away, and my shorts get quite a good amount of views, so I'm kind of close. So if you want to help me get over that number, hop on, watch some of my shorts. They're only 1 minute long. I do one for every single card. I do it for every single fight, and each short is 1 minute or less. And I talk pretty fast, as you guys know, so I get a decent amount of information in there. And I actually just hit over 1,000 shorts, so that's cool too. And I'm nearing 3K subs. So please hop onto my YouTube if you like me, if you like my breakdowns, or if you dislike me, but you want to listen to me so you could disagree, subscribe, watch my shorts, watch my YouTube videos, help me out. Let's do it.
Yo, if you're one of the real ones, what you do is you go to Mike's YouTube channel, right? You click on his videos or whatever, and you hit play all, and you just like turn the volume off and go to bed for the night, but you just let it run through all of them.
They just changed how they count shorts too. It used to be that you had to listen to the short for a certain amount of time. But now if you have a short and it appears on somebody's page and they swipe right away, it still counts as a view.
Oh, geez. Well, that's easy. So just
you don't even have to listen
you're
to
set. You're set. Anyway, last thing, I'm going to tell you something I got coming up. It's next week we don't have UFC, right? I'll still be breaking down the PFL with Pick'em.
You guys been doing well, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So that's always great. But what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to do a little live reaction to a video that somebody sent me the other day, and I think it's going to be a good time. Last time I did a reaction video, you guys in the chat enjoyed it, so that was really fun. I think I was reacting to those We Want Picks dudes when they fought each other or whatever, or like fought
I was going
to
say, wasn't your last reaction a beef with We Want Picks?
Dude, it was hilarious. So that was good times. So I'll be doing something fun for the 4th of July weekend since there's no UFC. So it'll be a good time. All right, guys, we're going to throw together a quick parlay, and I don't think we're all going to agree on this because that's going to be interesting. So I think we're just going to each give a leg, and we'll figure out what it comes out to be. I'm going to just pull up a parlay calculator.
I'll play it as we talk, and I can tell you. I'll do it on FanDuel.
Okay, well then, Mike, why don't you put yours in? Like, give your pick first, so that way we can just knock it out that way.
Oh, well,
So
now you're just
one was wearing.
Okay, I'm gonna go Hyder Ammo decision.
Let's go. Figure that one out. Put it on there, and then Evan, what do you think?
Dariush decision.
There we go.
Yeah, Jacoby Smith money line.
I love it.
Get out of here now.
No,
Dude, there's value there.
I'm gonna take.
It probably is.
Let me see. It's gonna be props and stuff like that.
Anything you want.
Anything you want, bro.
Araujo plus 3.5.
Okay.
Do they have spreads on FanDuel?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
DraftKings. We're gonna do FanDuel. Let someone else go, and I'll find something else.
Okay, so hold up. Are we trying to pick one that we is super safe and we think hits, or are we getting wild?
Dude, I picked a
in
plus
the middle,
500 prop.
Because I mean, if we're going super safe, I'm going to say fight starts round 2 in the Araujo fight. But if we're getting wild here, if we're
not a minus 10,000, dude. Like, pick something reasonable. Pick somebody that you picked outright, and then pick their method or something reasonable.
Yeah, do like a fighter and method of victory.
Yeah, I'm just screwing around. Okay,
or an underdog you like. You like 10 underdogs.
Dude, I know that's the problem. That's what makes it tough. Okay,
what'd you pick?
I picked Hyder Ammo decision.
All right, give me Tapuria by sub plus 550.
Let's go. I already have an identical lotto, so Tyler, you got to pick a different leg.
What do we got on the over in the Hines-Denise fight?
Let me check.
Like, if that's reasonable, we can play that.
1.5
over whatever they
minus
got.
110.
Let's do that. Let's put that in there. That's a fair play.
Okay, 4 legs comes out. We got Hyder Ammo points, Beneil Dariush points, Tapuria sub, Denise Hines over 1.5 comes out to plus 28,765. A $10 play will win you $2,876.
Any chance you drop that in the chat so I can put it up on screen?
Yeah.
Let's go, brother. Since you have it all right in front of you.
Got you.
Because I know Dixon's probably passed out at his screen because I haven't seen him in the chat for a while. But when he wakes up and he comes back and he sees this parlay, he's going to lose his mind. Dixon loves a good parlay. We didn't throw any PFL in there. I should have thrown a PFL. But honestly, this is a tough PFL card, to be honest. it's tricky. There's not a lot of like spots that just stand out super well. So
While I type this, how do you feel about Aaron Jeffrey being plus 155 again?
so that's the thing. Like
I've been thinking about it all week.
I
Doesn't make
want to
any
say Rosta's made the improvements necessary, but like at the same time, like it wasn't that long ago Jeffrey beat him, and like he shouldn't be an underdog here. So yeah, I mean, if you're playing it, you gotta like you kind of have to play the Jeffrey side, but ugh, it's terrifying.
I played Jeffrey the first time, and I can't understand what's changed enough to make him the underdog again. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
I haven't played it yet because I'm trying to make sense of the line, but
at the very least, it should be a pick 'em. Like just because people are saying that Rosta's improved, and I think he has, but like, has he improved that much? I don't know. Jeffrey's often underrated too, so that's something.
I know I've gotten him as an underdog so many times, and now
did you have him in his last fight?
No,
Dude,
I
didn't either,
I
but
didn't
should
believe
have.
in him there. I didn't believe in him there. I won't even lie.
Yeah. It's tricky. I think everybody went down on his like stock after the Salter loss or whatever.
It's not even that for me. I think I just overrated Murad.
That's fair. But yeah, I mean, you know, the guy only loses to pretty darn good fighters, so makes sense. But with that, we gave you everything. We got a 28,000 parlay there, and I think I gave
you just got a PFL breakdown too.
And you got a short PFL. If you want the full PFL breakdown, it's on my channel. Me and Pick'em did that. So with that, we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna catch you guys down the road. Thank you so much for tuning in.